This is the Southwest Florida TechNet, sponsored by the Southwest Florida Tech team. And we are being live streamed on the internet right now. So if you do not want your likeness in any way, visually or audio, to be put over the internet, I ask that you just turn those off and you can continue to participate in the chat room and watch us either on YouTube or on Zoom. We are broadcasting worldwide, live on Zoom and on YouTube. So hopefully we've got a lot of people out there tuning in. The reach has been getting a little bit better out there. I've got a few emails from out of the area over the last week that were interesting, and I don't know why, but we're having a real hard time with what everybody on YouTube has a hard time with, and that's getting through that initial year. Numbers, it takes a long time because there's so many people that start out, and you guys know on YouTube, there's a million episode ones, and there's 10,000 episode twos, and there's 1,000 episode 10s, and there's maybe 400 episode 50s. And the point of my thing is you got to get to the point where they know you're going to be around a while before they're going to give you any credibility at all on the algorithms. And so we haven't reached that point yet. So nobody finds us. It's very hard for people to find us. And I'm going to talk about it later because I did some broadcasting when the hurricane was going by, just some amateur radio broadcasting, doing the hurricane nets and stuff like that. And we got a lot of views, and it actually helped our algorithms a little bit. And I'm going to show you guys the numbers later because it was interesting how all that worked out. All right, so tonight we're going to do short topics tonight, and the short topics, what I mean by basically by short topics is we're going to just go over a few different things. We have a handful of things. I didn't have a big topic for this week, I'm going to be honest. I got that book finished, that audio book I've been working on. Oh, that was a project and a half, and I finally got it done. Probably about 65 man hours there for me to get that done, but it's going to pay very well here in the coming days. So that's been taking up my time for 2 weeks. And so, we're going to do what we can do this week. I've got some mini topics. We've got some things. Joseph's going to start out showing you guys how to run Windows programs on your Linux. So if you've got the Linux that we worked on the other day and you've made your Linux, and now you found a program that won't run on Linux. It doesn't have a Linux version, for instance. Or maybe it doesn't run the way you like it. You want to try running the Windows version. He's going to show you a thing called Wine. And what's cool is you can use Wine all night and not get drunk. It's really a cool thing, and it lets you run Windows programs on Linux. So yeah, it's awesome. So we're gonna start with that, and then after that, we're gonna talk about crossband repeating. And then after that, I got a lot of stuff going on in the coming days. We've got the 9/11 anniversary coming up, and there is going to be a special event station in in New York operating for 9/11 on that day. And we're going to talk about that with a little bit of detail tonight, a little later on. A lot of contests this weekend, and I've got the whole list for you coming up. And we've got some news going on out there in the ham radio world, and we're going to get to all that towards the end of the show. There'll also be an opportunity after we get these first 2 or 3 mini topics. We're going to let you guys bring mini topics too. So if you have one, go get it, bring it up so you can show it to us on the camera. Get it ready, bring it up on your screen, bring it up physically, whatever you have to do. And we'd love for you to give us a 10 or 15 minute show and tell demonstration on whatever it is you're working on. So this is mini topics for us, and then mini topics for you as well. So that's how we're going to do it tonight. And then we'll get to the news, traffic, and weather afterwards. And when I say news, traffic, and weather, I mean radio traffic and space weather. But yeah, we're going to get to all that coming up here at the end of the show. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Joseph, we're going to go ahead and start with the, do you want to run it on your end? How do you want to do it?
I can run it on my end, then I can
go ahead. That's easier that way.
At my own pace.
Yeah, perfect. That way I won't make you do the beep thing, because you hate doing the beep. He hates the beep thing. I make him go beep, but I don't think he ever watched a film strip in his life. So
does this work? It does work. All right.
There we go. We got you.
Okay, so this is going to be a quick little thing showing how to run Windows programs on Linux. Last couple of TechNets, we showed how to install it, and now we're going to show how to run Windows stuff on it, because that's probably going to be a very important thing for people who want to move over. As you can see here, Microsoft Bimbos. is the Windows that we're going to run today. So what you need is Wine. Oh, okay, hold on. You're going to tell me what's the button to go. There we go. Okay. Okay, so Wine is actually an acronym for Wine is not an emulator, which is kind of funny because it's got its own name in its name. It's kind of weird, but it's actually a compatibility layer between Windows applications and the Linux operating system. So it's not like it's not an emulator. You know, it's in the name. It's not an emulator. It's not like a virtual machine. It's actually just a compatibility layer. So it translates API calls, and like if a program wants to access a folder or a file, it translates that over to the Linux file system. And any kind of graphical stuff, like if you're running something with 3D rendering or just a normal program with a UI, it will translate that over as well. So it actually is pretty seamless for most stuff because it just translates everything. It's not a big whole ordeal. It just translates it. It's very, very easy to install. So I'll just walk through it really quick here. Got to go to winehq.org. That's where they have the whole project stored. You can download it from like built-in, like from the App Store on your computer, on like the distribution we installed. It comes with a little App Store, and it's in there, but it's an older version. So in my opinion, the best way to get this is go to the actual website, because that's how you get the most up-to-date version. So when you're on the website, can y'all see my cursor on this thing? Yeah, you can. Okay. There's little arrows too. The arrows point to what you got to go to. So when you're in the main page, go to where it says download. And then on the next page, you're going to choose your distribution. What we showed y'all how to install last week and the week before was Ubuntu, specifically Pop! OS, but it's based on Ubuntu. So you would choose Ubuntu. There's obviously choices. You can actually install it on Mac OS and Android. I haven't done either of those, but that's pretty cool because you can run Windows stuff on a Mac, which is pretty awesome. So yeah,
I think it's great that Linux can run Windows programs faster than Windows can run Windows programs.
It is true.
Probably better too.
You know, I've had games that worked that were broken for years on Windows, and I went and I installed it on Linux, and it worked. I couldn't believe it. It was broken on Windows 10. It had been broken for so many years, and then it worked. It was kind of amazing. So yeah, it might work better. You never know. So yeah, when you choose your distribution on the website, it actually just gives you a going down from the top, a list of commands to run. It's only like 5 commands. You want to add the 32-bit architecture. That's what the first one is. Then you want to add the repository for Wine. And that's what this second command is. Actually, that's the repository key. Never mind. The actual repository, this is kind of important. The current up-to-date version of Ubuntu is 21.04, and that's what Pop! OS is right now as well. But there may be a newer version. So make sure that you choose the right version, because if you get an older version, then when you try to install it, it'll give you errors about dependencies. It'll be like, oh, this package is out of date, or this other program is out of date, and we can't update it. And that always made me pull my hair out one time, because I was like, what? How can it be out of date? You can't update it. And that's because you have to choose the correct version. So yeah, right now we're on 21.04. And so you would copy this, and you just copy each one of these and paste it into your terminal, and then just hit enter. So you just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. It's really easy. And once you've chosen your version and you paste it in, then you just do sudo apt update, which just kind of causes it to like rescan all the packages and discover new stuff, which you just added a new repository. So it's going to go through and discover all the new packages in that repository. And then you want to choose the branch you want. Stable is like the one that people are going to recommend. The development one is going to be like the most up to date, but possibly buggy. And the staging branch, for some reason, for me, staging branch has always been the one that I got. And that's because it comes with, I guess it comes with more built into it. Is the best way to describe it. Like, for example, one of the programs I wanted to run, when I put on the stable branch, the program just crashed. It wouldn't run. And as soon as you try to start it, it just crashed. But then I put the staging branch on and it worked. And my guess is it has more dependencies built into the package, or it's got something it handles is better and actually works with more programs, because I've had multiple programs only work when running the staging branch. And there's no negatives to running staging as far as I know. So I personally recommend going with staging. unless you know something else, unless you know better than me, in which case choose whatever you want. So then you just copy the command here, install recommends wine HQ-staging. And that's it. So once you run that command, you don't have to reboot or anything. If you have a .exe file on your computer, if you have a .exe file on your computer, you can literally just double click it. And if it's not working when you double click it, right click it and choose open with Wine Windows Program Loader. If that's not showing up there, which it should, you could also choose open with other application and try and find the Windows Program Loader in the little menu for choosing another application. But for me, when I install it, it just pops up in this menu right away. And I think that's how it's supposed to work. And you just right click open with Wine and it'll pop up like any other Wine, any other Windows program would on a computer, unless the program is completely broken, which can happen sometimes with certain ones. So that's something to keep in mind. Not every single program will work flawlessly. Some just straight up won't work. And unless you're some kind of programming genius, you won't be able to fix it.
It's generally the ones I'm trying to work that don't work.
You haven't tried any yet.
Yeah, I know. We'll give it time.
But actually, Manicams works.
Oh, cool.
I tested it. It works. The screen capture works. It all works. It's pretty amazing. So this is another thing that will be kind of important down the road. At least for me, it is. You may want to access the folder where your programs are stored. So if you want to add a modification or edit a config file or something, this is an important thing to know. You go into your home directory on your Linux installation, and you want to enable show hidden files. Everything with a period in front of it will not show up under normal circumstances in the window. So you actually have to click this little show hidden files button. And then you should see a couple other things in there with dots in front of them, but you're looking for .wine, and that's going to be in your home directory. So once you find .wine, inside that folder, you'll see something called drive_C. And so this is like a virtual C drive for a Windows install. And you can see over here, it's got all the normal stuff like program files, users, Windows. It's got everything that would normally be there. It's even got the little program files ×86 thing in there. So that's how you access the file system for it. I've used this so much because I'm always messing with the configurations and stuff. So yeah, that's how you install it, and that's how you get the file access. Yeah, so that's how you do it. It's really easy. I've never had it mess up on me. It works great. It's a widely used application, and it's pretty cool how you can actually run cross-platform. You can cross-platform run stuff. I'm so glad that exists, because that would keep me from coming over here to Linux if that wouldn't exist. And so yeah, that's how you install Windows apps on Linux. And I guess I'm done here with my thing there. Any questions? I guess I should ask if there's any questions.
Well, and I did, but I was muted. Any questions out there for Joseph? Okay, either you did a good job or you put him to sleep. That's what I say every time. I did a good job. I think that's what it is too. I think it wasn't long enough to put him to sleep, so it has to be the first.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Does anybody have anything related to Linux or the Linux install or any of that they'd like to ask while we've got Joseph here talking about it?
Joseph, while you were doing this, did you have any did you run any program where you had to map COM ports to devices or anything of that nature?
So I did try and do that a while back. It was with SDR Sharp. I was trying to get my dongle to show up in there, and I only tried briefly with it, and I did get it to work. I can't tell you the steps I took right now, but yes, it was relatively easy. There was a few commands you had to run, and that would map like the dev TTY or the dev USB 0 to a COM port.
Yeah.
In the virtual thing.
Because I want to be able to use one of my logging. I want to be able to use the N1MM Plus logging program, which I frequently use when I get on HF, and I'd like to be able to run it under Linux. I'd love to get rid of all of the hassle that I have with Microsoft Windows with updates and everything else, and just be able to do my program. So
yeah, the only problem I can think of would be that the driver, I don't know how it handles drivers.
Yeah.
If you had to install a driver for your radio on Windows, you could install it again into the into Wine.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how it would handle it. I really don't know what would happen if you tried to put something in there like a programming cable for a Baofeng. I doubt that would work because you have to put the special driver in there. In Linux, you don't have to put a driver in for the Baofeng cable, but on Windows you do. And I have a feeling that it would be very complicated to get that working.
Yeah.
But for basic stuff like a webcam or a USB drive or something that I don't know. I mean, the dongles seem to work. So I don't know. Maybe I wonder if it actually just takes the Linux driver and that might be what it did. I don't know. I'm gonna have to research that more. It's an interesting idea.
It's something we're gonna have to play with the experiment, see how it works.
Yeah. I wonder how that works. That is interesting. Think about that.
All right. Well, let's see here. Anything else on Linux? Last call Linux. All right. The next thing, the next thing we're going to talk about is the Joseph's got the 430 to 750 terahertz band AM receiver.
Yes.
Now, I've been wanting one of these for Christmas for years, and nobody's obliged me.
This is kind of funny. This is partially a joke, but actually kind of fascinating. So I'm sure all of us know that light, visible light, is the same as amateur radio waves, just a different wavelength. And certain devices, such as solar panels, actually, can we have yeah, there we go. So if you just take a normal solar panel, like just a solar, like something small like that, and you take the leads and you connect them to like a small speaker, or you could even do like an audio amplifier of some kind, that solar panel actually acts like an antenna for visible light. And if you modulate that light, it will recreate the audio coming out through the speaker. If you wanted to modulate light, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could vibrate the light using you could tape a laser pointer to a large speaker, and the vibration would actually vibrate the little laser pointer. And if you shine that at the solar panel, it would actually crudely recreate the audio you're playing through the speaker. But it is actually really cool. So if you hook one of those up and you hear noise, that's like static in visible light wavelength. And I think that's really fascinating because you don't hear of radio signals being turned into audio above normal communications bands. And this is one way to do it. That's actually very, very, very easy to do. It's literally just a speaker connected to a solar panel. You could also do it with like a photodiode. That could work too. In fact, that's probably a good way to make a amplifier. But yeah, in fact, I think you can buy a flashlight somewhere, or maybe it's something you buy, or I saw somebody make it, but they actually had a flashlight they could plug an audio jack into, and it modulated the light, and they shined it at a solar panel connected to a speaker, and the sound coming out was like a perfect recreation. Of course, you're limited to line of sight and can't go through anything at all. So yeah, I don't know if they have broadcast stations for visible light yet, but maybe they will one day.
You know, what's really cool about this is you think about this, but this is actually a viable way to communicate in space. Because other than the time factor, of course, but everything we communicate with today has that same light speed time factor. So, but this would be a cool way to transmit something through space, is to modulate a beam of light. I think it was John. Go ahead.
Do you have to block the DC voltage that the solar panel is going to generate?
No, you do not. If you
it's because it's a small enough solar panel that you're not really pushing that much voltage, right?
Because I would think a DC voltage would just pull the magnet on that speaker one way, and you wouldn't get any forward motion on it. It would be all negative.
Well, it might do that, and if you're using something small like this, you kind of have to hook up a small speaker to it, or like an earbud, like a music earbud to it, something that doesn't take much current to make it make sound. So it does put out DC, and you can hear the thing make a little crackle when you first connect it, but it is still modulating. It is still amplitude modulated. So even if it's, unless it was completely bottoming out like the magnet or the coil, you're still going to get modulation through it, and you can still hear it. I wouldn't recommend hooking this up. What is going on? Oh, okay. I wouldn't recommend hooking up anything nice to it, any kind of like expensive audio equipment to it. But if you just take a cheap little speaker and a little solar panel, that's how you make one.
That's cool. All right. Anything on that? Any questions?
Yeah, if we could just modulate the sun, we'd have it made.
There you go. I wonder what kind of music it plays.
Can we put the sun on Broadcastify?
Yeah, we probably could.
We could put
Yeah.
the sun on Broadcastify.
And then when they tell you no, you'd be like, how can you deny me putting the sun? I mean, come on. They're picky. They, just so you guys know, when you go on Broadcastify, they actually vet you a little bit. They want to make sure that you're putting up something that's worth putting up, and that it's up to some service to somebody. So it's kind of cool how they do that. All right. So anyway, the next thing I want to talk about, and if there's nothing else on that, last call. Oh, great. I hear what sounds like fireworks, and that's the wishful thinking part, because it could be gunshots. All right. Let's see here.
I thought I heard a flushing toilet a minute ago.
Well, I'm out in the shack and I haven't installed one of those yet, although a urinal might be coming soon.
Just replace your desk chair with a toilet.
Just gotta have to put a fire hydrant out.
I don't need a toilet. You know, I only need that, like, you know, every now and then. But a urinal, if I had a urinal out here, I get a lot more done.
Oh, man.
Home Depot bucket.
Put a fire hydrant out there.
Well, there you go.
Oh.
All right. So crossband repeating. This is something I want to mention. I was surprised that a number of hams have never tried this or done this. For those of you who do it, just humor me for a second. I like the crossband repeat myself. My TYT portable that I bought, my little Chinese radio that I got for $70, my favorite radio in the whole world. This one has crossband repeat. Now, what it basically does is it takes everything that it hears on one band and it retransmits it on the other band. That's all a crossband repeater is. And so basically whatever channel you have on the top row, and it is your channel A, and then whatever you have on the bottom row is your channel B. In order to put it in crossband repeat, all you have to do is make sure that your A and your B channel are set on two different bands. So in other words, one is, say, on the 685 and one is up on 400 on the 775. Okay. And then if I turn my portable on and turn it to what they call turn, in the Chinese radios, crossband repeat is actually called turn.
Now, does that take the English and convert it to Chinese?
Well, no, sometimes when you're talking, when it comes out the other end, it's Chinese. But what you do is you key off, wait 3 seconds, key back up, it'll be okay. But the way that works on here, literally, as long as your two frequencies are separate, you turn it on, you sit this radio somewhere, and then anything that somebody says on the 685 can be heard on the 775. There's about a second or so delay for everything to kick in, second and a half. It works pretty cool. You can connect two repeaters together with it, but that's not what it's normally used for. What it's normally used for, and I'm going to tell you what I use it for, and what I think is great about it is what I do is I will, like, if let's say I want to do the traffic net in the morning, but I want to sit in there and watch something with my wife. Well, I don't have a base radio in my bedroom. Okay. I don't think my wife would probably like that all that much. I don't know. I'll ask her. But so what I did was I took my radio, and I have another one of these right here that it's basically the exact same radio. Okay. I bought another one. This one is my crossband repeater. Now, the only difference between these two is I have a battery eliminator on this one and Velcro on the back. And I've got a little stand that it goes in. And there's my crossband repeater. And then all I have to do is put a little SMA adapter on here. I put a little SMA adapter on here. and I hook it up to my dual 7-element Yeagis up on my antenna, up 35 feet on my tower, and I point it towards Verna, and I can, sitting in the bedroom watching TV with my wife, I can take my other TYT radio and I can check in on the Tampa repeater when they call on the EagleNet for any other counties that were not previously called, because we're so far south they don't even call Lee County. And I like to check in on the EagleNet every now and then, and that allows me to do that. Even like the 685, I can't get that in the bedroom clearly. With the Crossband, it works great. Crossband works really good if you've got it in like a mobile rig. Like, let's say you buy a mobile radio for your shack. Let's pay the extra $50, get the Crossband. Now you can take that thing, hook it up to Crossband, put your UHF side on low power, put your VHF side on high power, turn the VHF side to the 685 or whatever repeater, the 820, which is one I have a hard time with. I can put my Yeagis on the 820, and then I can talk from anywhere on my property. I can talk with this radio on the 820, and it's crystal clear. So that's the benefit of Crossband Repeater. Is it's also great when you're going to work and you want to go into work, but you want to monitor what's going on another channel or on a repeater, or even on, let's say, on the Simplex channel, whatever. You can leave your radio in the car hooked up to your antenna on top of the car, and you set your UHF side on low power, and you go inside with your radio on UHF, and you can listen to the broadcasts that are coming from your car. And it works out really good because now you've just taken that repeater and you've extended it into your high density building where you couldn't hear it before. It works really good. That's the upside. The upside is it's gotten pretty cheap, $70 for a really nice portable that has it built in. You can get mobiles that have it for $200 or $300. That's the good news. The bad news is it's 100% duty cycle. What does that mean? For those of you not familiar, duty cycle is how long the transmitter's on versus how long it's off. If it has a 50% duty cycle, then that means that 50% of the time the transmitter's on. FT8, for instance, and FT4 have a 50% duty cycle because they're on half the time. Okay, we got to look at that when we're using this. When you're doing crossband repeating, it has 100% duty cycle, because when you're talking to the car, you know, it's transmitting it to the tower. And then when the tower's talking back to you, it's transmitting it back to you. So its transmitter's running all the time. So what I found was this thing gets really, really hot. So what I had to do, and I don't know if it's here where I can demonstrate it. I should have had that ready, but that's all right. You guys know what a little stupid fan looks like. I have Velcro on the back here, and I have a fan that Velcros right here, a big computer fan, like that goes inside your old computer, and it goes right there, and it blows air directly over the top of this thing. And that's the only way I can use this on crossband, and I still have to be careful because it will overheat. Your mobile rigs with fans do a lot better, but I'm going to tell you something. If you leave a crossband out in your car in the summertime, it will fail you because it's going to get way too hot out in that car, I'm telling you. But as Forrest Gump would say, that's about all I got to say about that. Does anybody have anything else on Crossband Repeat? I'd like to get some discussion on it. Pros, cons, what you like about it, what you don't like about it.
You might want to set up where it only transmits when you're transmitting. In other words, you pick up a set when you key your rig inside someplace, then it transmits. Other than that, you do your receiving direct from the repeater.
Right.
That might be the easier way to go. And that way you don't cook your radio.
Yep. Yeah, you could do that. That's a good idea. If it would, if you can receive the repeater in the building, but you can't get to it, he's correct. You could set it as one way and then just use the radio, use it one way. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. But yeah, that's a great idea. I actually like that idea because I'm sitting here thinking, wow, yeah, I could do that.
Otherwise, if you have a low power setting on that radio, you might want to turn it to low power.
Right.
I mean, I've got a radio here This is my old Icom ICW32AT, which I'm about to get a battery in here to get it going again. This is a good radio. It's supposedly capable of crossband repeat, but I would set it to half watt. It's got half watt and 5 watt setting. I just set it to a half watt setting, just enough to get you where you're going.
Right. And here's what I do. Like if I'm doing the 685 repeater, I've got it set on low watt, low watt. I've got it set on 1 watt, 1 watt. And it's a portable, so it's not putting out much at all. But I'm using a big antenna. Here's another cool thing that actually helps a little bit. I read a paper on this. Really cool stuff. Let's say you've got a big VHF antenna up there. Like I got a Ringo Ranger up at 30 feet. Top of it's about 42 feet in the air. That's my primary Omni. Now, what's really cool about it is at VHF frequency, it resonates perfectly at 1-to-1, and it puts out a beautiful bow tie that goes right along the horizon, and all my power is going right out where it's supposed to be, and it's not being wasted up here and down here. Okay. When you put UHF frequency through a big VHF antenna like that, it doesn't resonate so bad. My SWR is within acceptable parameters on UHF. It's like 1.5 or something, 2. It's really not that bad for UHF. It's tolerable. So it's not going to hurt your radio. And what's really cool about it is the UHF pattern on a big VHF antenna like that is erratic. It goes up and down and everywhere. Well, that's fine because you're using it on crossband repeat, walking around your yard or in your work or whatever. So a sloppy pattern on the UHF side and a really good pattern on the VHF side actually tends to help you on both sides. So I just thought that was kind of cool. But anyway, other than that, that's what I've learned about it. I use it some. Sometimes I'll set it one way only, and I'll set it up for SARnet, like when there's a hurricane coming or something, so I can monitor SARnet in the radio station. That was before I started streaming it. Now we're streaming it. I just listen to it online. But anyway, so there's a lot of cool things you can do with Crossband Repeat. So I just didn't know if anybody out there, as far as licensing is concerned, as far as your license and using it, you're thinking, well, it's an uncontrolled transmitter. Is it okay? Well, here's the thing. Okay. You're in control of that transmitter, because here's what I suggest. First of all, set for whatever channel you're going to use to talk to your crossband repeater. You need to pick a frequency that nobody else is using. Go to the experimental frequencies, because you're only going to be using 1 watt. It's going to be low power. Go to an experimental frequency or to a frequency range that's not used that much. Find a frequency within the ham radio band, of course. I've read a lot of things, and from what people recommend, if you're using 1 watt or less and you're using it as a crossband, that just go to an experimental band. There's actually a band of experimental channels. And if someone has another idea on this, let us know. But this is what I've read. And you decide on a channel. I suggest you set both your radios to transmit and receive only on PL decode.
What Man, you're taking away what I was gonna say.
I'm sorry. You go ahead if you want to do it.
Well, I was just saying it because now next time you ask for any more comments, there's gonna be crickets.
Sorry.
Yeah, in the place where I work in the office, we have a whole bunch of Ethernet cables running everywhere, and those cause so much interference on both 2-meter and 440. If you don't have tone squelch turned on, you cannot scan in there because it will stop at every frequency because of the noise. It's not a problem when you're receiving from a repeater, because the repeater just kind of overrides it, but it's just enough to where on a Baofeng especially, it'll open that squelch up. And this also applies to the radio sitting in your vehicle. If you have, what I recommend is when you're programming your handheld and when you're programming your base station, you put in a set of 2 channels on each one. And that would be your crossband repeat channel. And you pick frequencies like Ian was saying on the experimental band, and you set a tone for both transmit and receive. Actually, set a tone for transmit and receive on both the handheld and on the base radio.
And let me just add here, when you're doing your chirp programming, watch it, because you have to set it to, I think there's set tone normally, and I think you need to set it to TSQL or something, but look it
Yeah.
up, because if you don't set your chirp right, your repeater will be receiving an open carrier. Anything on that frequency will get crossband repeated into the repeater, and you don't want to do that. So you want to pick a PL tone that only you are using, nobody else even uses it, put it in there, and then that will hopefully keep those errant transmissions from going out.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you put in this, but yeah, I like the idea of having specific channels set up in your memory bank, so that anytime you want to crossband repeat, you can just click it on immediately, and it's already set up with tones that will access each other. And you need 2 channels, one for VHF and one for UHF, because you don't know if you're gonna be crossbanding from 2 meter to 440 or from 440 to 2 meter. You don't know which one you're gonna use. So having both programmed in is really good, and I need to do that really bad because I've been using that crossband repeat somewhat lately. And every time I'm like, oh, what frequency am I going to use for the
Well, let's talk about that.
crossband
We'll
side?
standardize it, because I've already got some stuff I'm using. I went and found, what I did was I've got mine programmed UHF 123, VHF 123, and basically it's just experimental channels that are in all of my radios, and I use those as my crossband repeat channels, and they're automatically set in the radio to be low power. And they're all set to transmit and receive on, or well, one of them is, one of each of them is set to low power and to transmit and receive PL. And that way you can use them for crossband channels. They're perfect. All right. You guys understand what we're saying, right? I mean, because if you have your crossband repeater set to where it'll receive anything that comes in, you could be disturbing other guys that are trying to use the big repeater, because your little crossband repeater is sending a bunch of errant crap to the big one, and we don't want that. So what we want to do is protect that, protect your crossband repeater by putting a receive PL on it, like the repeaters normally have, so that it only receives. And I'm gonna tell you something, I did this with all my UHF channels. I don't know if you've done this or not. I set it that way on all of my UHF channels because of all the HF, RF crap I got going on around here. I walk around with this thing on the 775 or the 750, and it's just the entire time I'm walking around my house, my work, anywhere. So all of my UHF channels receive through a PL only. So if it's not the repeater, it doesn't open up. You know, one other quick thing I did. If you got a repeater you use all the time on one of the little Chinese radios, these don't have reverse buttons. And that's something. Yeah, Chinese radios don't have reverse buttons. I guess there was no translated word for reverse. So what you can do, these things all have like 100 and something channels in them. We don't need that many. So what you can do is, what I do is we use the 775 all the time, and this radio's on the 775 24 hours a day. So what I did was I took, because channel 1 starts the Aries standard frequency list, right? I didn't want to mess with that because I like having standard channels. Yeah. So what I did was I went back to channel 127, 128, and 129, which if you go back one channel, that's the next 3 channels. You see what I mean? You go 3, 2, 1, and then boom, you're at the last 3 channels. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whatever you put in the last 3 channels is really easy to get to, because you're just going back one channel and you're there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see how it makes it easy? So what I do is, because I use that repeater all the time, I've got my last 3 channels in this radio programmed as 775 high, 775 low, and 775 reverse. So I can just channel up and down, and I've got all 3 options right there. When I'm out here in the yard or something, I leave it on low power because I don't even need high power. Now, when I'm in the car traveling, I put it up on high power so you don't have to hear all the picket fencing.
Yeah.
You know, and I get that, you know, it helps. If I go up to 5 watts, well, let's see. What's the conversion rate? It's a 10 watt.
It's like
so the UHF on a 10 watt is 8 watt. With the Chinese conversion, that's about 5.5 watts. So about 5.5 watts eliminates most of that picket fencing that you would get at 1 watt when you're driving down the road. You know, anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have anything on any of that?
All right, so most of the time I've used Crossband Repeat is at some public service event where I'm usually stuck with an HT. I mean, there's no way to hit the repeater. So I crossband across the street to wherever my car is at. And I find that that works really, really well. And if I can hear the repeater, then I only use my mobile radio to bump me up to 5 watts with a 5/8 wave antenna, which is usually enough to hit the repeater, where an HT with a rubber dummy load just ain't enough.
Right.
And that way my radio is only transmitting, and it could be an all-day event. You know, at 5 watts, I can leave that radio on, and the car will still crank and giddy up and go. At the end of the
Because
event.
if it's not transmitting all the time, I could see that. That was a great idea that Rick gave us with the programming. You could literally program your radio to where if we go to channel 99, that's full duplex crossband repeat, and if I go to 100, that's just half duplex crossband repeat. And
You could do an odd split.
I know this sounds complicated, but it would actually be real. Yeah, exactly. You could do it to where if you do it one way, it's crossbanding only from the little radio back to my car, but I'm actually receiving it from the big tower. You see what I mean?
See direct from
But I flip it one more channel and now it's full duplex. It's same thing on the other side with my radio in the car. I'd have the same programming in that. So if I put that on 99, it would know that we're going into half duplex mode. If you put it in channel 100, then it would know, okay, we're going into full duplex mode. That would work. That would work. I'll write a book on that.
There you go.
I'll get somebody else to read the audio
Okay,
book
and,
for
and
it.
one other comment. Now, I don't know about where y'all are at, but in most places I've been, the repeater owner or trustee or whatever you want to call them would like to know when you're going to use crossband type stuff, so that when he gets that, something's hung up, and it's like someone is sitting on a microphone and they don't know where it's coming from. If they say, "Oh yeah, Billy Bob down yonder, he told me he was going to be doing crossband," he would know who to call first and eliminate that who might be doing crossband. I don't know if y'all's trustees want to know that or not.
Yeah, I've never
I don't
heard
think
that.
they care.
No.
Haven't heard any.
Well,
of
if
that,
the repeater gets hung up and can't shut down, so
Well, there should be timeouts built on everything for that. Your radio has a timeout timer built in it, so does the repeaters. So I would hope that would resolve itself over time. But anyway, and I'll tell you what, if it does stay open for more than 5 minutes, the radio will turn glowing red and start your car on fire. So it won't matter anyway.
and it'll emit this huge.
It'll eliminate itself from the
You'll
problem.
have this huge smoke signal coming out of your car.
I'm gonna tell you guys something. Every time I've used crossband repeat, I'm constantly shocked at how much heat the radio produces while it's doing it. Even at low power, that radio will sit there and glow with a fan blowing right on it. The display will turn black. It's so hot, and the
Ooh.
radio is so yeah.
I've never seen that. That's weird.
Yeah, man, Chinese power, man.
Half
But
of it
yeah,
goes into thermal energy.
this radio has had a black screen about 20 times doing crossband, and I'll come out and the antenna connection will burn you on top. That's how hot it is. I'm surprised. It's so bad that the battery eliminator is melted, and I actually have gone in there and melted it back, and then and then bent the prongs so they still make contact with it.
Oh man.
It gets hot, dude. I cannot believe how hot crossband gets. It's crazy.
Just because of that heavy duty cycle. And you know what else? If you're using that handheld to crossband repeat, those things actually, once they get hot like that, the output power drops to almost zero.
Yep.
If you talk for more than like about 10 minutes straight or 20 minutes on one of those handhelds, it'll get so hot the output power will start to drop to almost nothing.
Probably by design.
Hopefully by design, or the final gets, I don't know if they can
I
get like,
I would think it's protecting itself, but who knows?
They're
Do they think
Chinese
that-
radios.
you think they
Yeah.
thought about that?
Yeah,
when they
well-
were
No,
making
if
them?
a Motorola did that, I'd think it was by design. A $30 Bofang, I'm not buying it.
Look, even a Chinese radio it wants to live.
I don't know.
All right, so it's all right. So anyway, that's it. That's crossband. Anybody got anything else on that?
One other thing is that crossbanding, even if you don't think you need it, well, so like you could put your transmit on both of them be on low power, and I found this out because at work, the car sitting out in the parking lot gets a fine signal into the 685, even on the lowest power setting on my 8900. So having both of those sides on 5 watts means that if I'm checking into the net or I'm having a conversation with somebody, I don't have to worry about the radio getting as hot as it would if it say it was on 5 watts. So that's something you could check if you're parking your car somewhere and you're trying to, test how good the repeater is going to work. Put your outgoing signal from the repeater on as low power as you can as well, because that'll save you when it comes to temperature. Is doing that, putting it on low power.
And you'd be surprised, you hook up a little portable radio to 2 big Yagis like I got up here, and then I adjust it down to 1 watt and shoot it at a tower that's 30 miles away, and it works. It's always amazing to me that a better antenna is always a better day. It doesn't matter what you're talking on. A better antenna is always better. So
Yeah, you got to remember, like gain is
Yeah.
the thing.
yeah, we're not talking detergent.
Every time we see that stuff, there's some kind of joke we say about it. Like, oh, look, gain, got enough gain.
Look, if they're coming back for the jokes, at least they're coming back. Okay. Anyway, I know that's why John comes back. I don't know about anybody else. All right, so that's it for Crossband, and I found this really cool. You go online, and one thing I love about ham radio is I always love the high tech graphics that I find online. I only found 2 demonstrations of what a crossband repeater is.
Don't you
And,
love the Florida mountains?
Yeah,
Florida
the-
mountains.
Well, this is the Florida mountains, but that's the one I found, which I thought was a nice one. But then I found this one, and I'm like, well, I got to show them that one too. But there's your crossband repeat. This is Joseph's. This is Joseph's vehicle, and that's Joseph and his dad at work. There we go. And they're on the other side of the mountain. They're on the Buckingham side of the mountain. All right, so
the Buckingham side of the mountain.
all right, last call on anything with crossband repeat. All right. Oh, the ARRL. I'm not going to dwell on this. I just want to mention. I started about 3.5 months ago trying to get a hold of them to find out what it takes, and who I have to talk to, and who our liaison would be if our group, the TechNet, the tech group, the tech team, whatever. If we want to join the ARRL, who would we talk to? What do we do? And I sent email after email after email, and never got anything back. So I started sending angrier emails, and I'm pretty good at the angry email. I sent like 3 of them. All right, y'all stop laughing because some of you seen them. But I sent a really nasty one that because they sent me a thing that says, "Hey, we're so glad you're happy with the ARRL, and so and because you're so happy, we want $50 more." And so I sent him a thing. I said $50, and let's just say it went 3 pages from there. And so then they send it to someone else. I get an email that my email has actually been forwarded to someone who cares. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So just a couple of days ago, I finally get the email back. This is like 3.5 months after I started writing them. They have referred my email to the FMARC to handle.
Wait, what? I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, just happened today.
What?
They have referred my email
Are you
and my complaint about the ARRL to the FMARC, who I guess is the ARRL's complaint department for South Florida. So I don't know how that works exactly.
That doesn't make any
That
sense.
sucks for F Mark, I can tell you that, because there's like about 90 million people that are kind of unhappy with the ARRL right now.
That
But
doesn't make any sense at all.
I don't know. So I wrote him back an email and I'm like, look, been working with this club. They don't really want to do anything either. And I don't, between this whole thing, I want to know if it's standard procedure for you to refer complaints about your club to another club. I mean, that's literally like AAA complaining about your AAA service with the wrecker and them shipping it over to the Red Cross to handle.
Hey, look at it this way. At least it wasn't sent to the Taliban.
Well, there, I guess that's a plus. I guess we'll find a plus. Anyway, I just
How
wanted
do
to
you
mention.
know it wasn't?
Yeah,
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
I guarantee that they would have responded quicker. It may not have been a response I
You
was
might have gotten a
necessarily
4th of
looking
July
for.
celebration in your front yard.
Yeah. And but he mentioned that he wasn't going to get into all of my problems with the ARRL, and he had referred my complaint to FMARC, and that the president there, Steve, would be contacting me to address these with me. And I'm like, I wonder how Steve feels about being the account representative for ARRL. I can't wait to find this out. So
He would want that.
poor Steve. I don't think that's fair for him, but that's
So what-
okay, because I'm not gonna yell at Steve about it. It's not his deal. But I don't know why they would. Does anybody ever heard of anything like that before?
That's just doesn't. I don't get that at all.
Where's my
You're-
Twilight Zone button?
Where's Roger?
Well, let's back up a second. Ian, this all started by you were wanting to organize a club and associate it with the ARRL. Is that correct?
We were going to contact them and see if it was something we'd be interested in. Sure.
Okay, well, the ARRL has a club coordinator in each section, and that would be your route. You just contact the club coordinator. I don't know who he is. It used to be Jeff Beals, who lives over in Lake Placid now, so he's in West Central Florida now.
Right. Like I said, I don't know. And I'm not going to sit here and just be all disparaging, because there is a lot of good things that the club does for ham radio and so on. And it's nice to have clubs that want to be a part of it. All I can say, and I just wanted to see if anybody had anything on this, is I'm not interested anymore. So I'm going to move on.
Have you reached out to Mickey Baker, your
That's
I
who
guess
it's going to be.
he's our southeastern director.
I
for
believe that
ARRL?
that is the person I believe who finally answered my email and told me I need to speak to the complaint person, Steve Clayton.
Okay, well, I may have to send Mickey. I've met the man.
No, I don't listen. I don't want anybody sending anything. All I wanted to mention here was, if anybody wonders why I'm not going to be doing much with ARRL. Once we get the group established and the bylaws written, we've already got a number of people on board, and we're going to be setting up our first bylaws meeting coming up, and we're actually going to be scheduling our first build coming up too. And
Yes. I
once
have news about that too.
Cool. And once we get all that done, I am interested in talking to our new membership about what they want to do with the ARRL, and we're going to leave it there, because once the group starts, and it's going to become a democracy, because unlike other places, everybody gets a vote. And so we'll vote at the time to see if that's what we want to do. But I just wanted to put that out there. I just thought that was strange, guys. I don't think it's
so
fair for
strange.
FMARC, and I don't think it was right.
So what does FMARC stand for?
The Fort Myers Amateur Radio Club.
Why in the world would they send your request to the AR to them? That makes no
Yeah,
sense.
it wasn't a request. All the requests had gone and went unanswered. This was basically me sending a letter to them, telling them in very much detail why I would not be sending them another $49. And that finally elicited a response 31 days after I sent it. So I don't know. I like I said, I don't want to get into it. It's a shame to me. I don't know. I just wish that it would come out differently. But you know what? I went down through it, and there's nothing they're doing that's necessary for us to have a group. We don't need to be a member of their thing. So, and nor do I think I want to be. But anyway, that's all that is. If anybody has any input on that, I'd be glad to listen. Other than that, we're going to move on.
That's completely insane.
I know. Look, I wasn't going to I don't like bringing up negative topics, and this is a little bit negative, so I wasn't even going to bring it up.
Well,
But
I think we need
but
to
I
know.
do like to bring up insane topics, and
It's
this is
definitely
insane.
And
Okay,
everybody needs to know that it's going on.
yeah. So okay, all right. This just in.
Breaking news.
Ham radio breaking news, and there's my shack in the middle. And
Oh, it's on fire.
yeah.
Oh man.
All right, so yeah, we're going to talk about what's going on. Okay, there's a special 9/11 event station coming up, guys. This is going to be a good one. I'm going to try to hit this one. They're not being real specific about exactly what or when they're working. It's one of those things. They're going to have a bunch of stations on the air, so it may be that they're working all the major modes. I don't know. What they said they're using CWSSB and digital modes. That's the exact quote. That's what they said. So you can figure it out from there.
Huh.
They also could have said, yeah, using ham radio. Because that's pretty much what that says. Anyway, but that's cool. I'm looking forward to this. There's going to be a lot of people that were there that day that responded, a lot of responders there. We're going to be working radios. It's put on by the Northeast Wireless Radio Club and the Great South Bay Amateur Radio Club. And I just want to make sure everybody knows about this, because I'm going to try to get it on this one myself. 9/11 falls on a Saturday this year, guys.
Yep.
So even for those of us working schmucks that are out here, we can get involved in this thing. We don't have to crossband repeat our HF to the car. We can actually do it from home because it's on a Saturday. So I just wanted to mention that this would probably be a good one to work. I don't think there's big certificates or awards or trophies. It's nothing like that. It's just the honor of having worked the station, and that's all I need. All right. Anybody have anything on that?
Cross-trade and putting your HF to your car. That's actually an interesting idea.
That's right.
I've heard it done. I've actually heard it done, and it confused me for so long until I figured out what was going on. But somebody does that in our neighborhood here. Someone's got a Kenwood Sky Command system, which apparently is a radio that'll interface with the handheld, and it transmits the audio over 2-meter simplex. And I was monitoring our family simplex frequency, and I hear and it was like single sideband noise. I was like, what is going on? And it turned out to be this guy running his Kenwood Sky Command system. So yeah, that does exist.
ALRS?
No, it was on the 2-meter simplex.
Oh, okay. That's probably illegal.
No, it's not. It's the Kenwood Sky Command. It's like, it's a legit thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Supposedly my 590 is capable of that. I've never tried it though.
It's a cool
All I
idea.
know is I can't get it to crossband my CB.
we could, that could be arranged.
Well, I just looked up that 1x1 call for the W2 Tango, Whiskey 2 Tango, and they reserved that 1x1 call from the 1st to the 15th. I'm surprised that they're only putting out that they're only on the air for the 11th.
They just want to mess around and have fun before that.
Yeah, I mean I did go to their QRZ page and I got the date right from there. So there may be other times they're operating it. I don't know. Like I said, I got it right off of there. I don't know.
Well, I went to the 1x1callsign.org website, and that's where you can reserve a 1x1 call.
Yeah.
Or look up a 1x1 call and then see who all's hat is it and when they've got it. It gives the name of and the email address and the phone number of the gentleman that reserved it from the 1st to the 15th, which is way more what information I ever want to put out.
That may be the minimum amount of time they can reserve that. I don't know. I've never done that before.
Well, 2 weeks is the max that you can do. So they did the call for the full 2 weeks, but I would not have wasted a 1-by-1 call for 2 weeks if I was not planning on being on the air with it.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of blocks anybody else from getting it.
So wait a minute, you can reserve call signs?
Sure.
Yes, especially
Yeah, it's a
event
special
call
event call
sign.
sign.
Ah,
It's-
special event call sign.
Yeah, somebody, you can't get a 1-by-1 call assigned to yourself because people would kill people to get one of those.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that'd be funny.
so you can reserve one of those. I've done it more times than I want to tell you. But it's easy.
Wow.
Especially if you're gonna do like field day and you are in charge of the get on the air station and you've got somebody who does not know what ITU phonetics are. You can teach them 2 letters in hardly no time. The rest of the alphabet, well, that's a little bit harder
Yeah.
to transmit. Make it simple.
Those are typically reserved, like the state QSO parties. They'll reserve a whole series of them.
Right.
Wow, I did not know that. I learned that today.
Yeah.
Well, then go to 1-by-1 or 1x1
Yeah.
thing. 1x1callsigns.org and look at it. It'll show you how to request one and how to search for one and who all the coordinators are and all that happy stuff.
1x1callsigns.org. Wow. That's cool.
On their web page, on the QRZ page, they say a certificate will be download only. So they are going to have a certificate, but you'll have to download your own and print it.
That's cool though. That's cool. Yeah, ones like this are more about just doing it. I can't. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try this one. I'll try to get them on SSB, and of course I know I'll get them on FT8 if they're there. But all right. So anyway, anybody have any questions on that or anything? And of those of you who got the newsletter, that was in your newsletter that I sent out earlier as well. So anyway, let's get back over here. All right, the next thing is the website of the week. Website of the week is iweathernet.com. Basically they've got all kinds of really cool resources for it's mostly, you know, terrestrial weather stuff. But the one thing I use on this site that is the very best thing you can ever find is this site here. And I'm gonna bring this over so I can show you in real time. Did that work? No. Oh, okay. See, if you when I select full screen, I selected the window instead of the screen. Hold on.
Full
Okay.
window.
Yeah, I gotta go find the. Let me just do screen 3. There we go. All right, this is the program here. This is a great program for looking at the total amount of rainfall. Okay, and you can adjust this for however long you want, up to 3 days. But this thing, like, we can go in here to New York. This thing gives you a street level view almost of the actual rainfall in an area, and you can go right into street level view. And you can click it there, and it will give you, that was 11.24 inches of rain. So I love this one. This is a good one. If you're following storms, or if you're wanting to go see how much rain we got.
Go down and look at New Orleans and see what it looks like.
Well, I think we're already too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're too late. That's already gone through. We're seeing the end of it up here. Yesterday, when I looked up here, this was 14, 15 inches. The first day of this is already falling off because it's only 72 hours. But you can zoom right in to downtown Fort Myers and see how much rain we got at each place. You can see the color change there. And your colors are right up here. And you can look this, you know, this peach color right here. This is kind of this is like 1.2 to 1.4, right in this range. See how much rain John got, how much rain Charles got. Anyway, yeah, what a cool thing. So I just wanted to show everybody that. See there, look at that Buckingham, man.
Oh yeah.
Always get the rain in Buckingham. Look at
Oh,
that.
this is ridiculous. Y'all, you
Yeah.
always get all the rain.
Yeah.
Oh, you kidding me? You guys get more rain than we
No,
do.
it's the thing with the radar. No, we had a storm pop up and just sit on us today. Just kind of sat there for all afternoon. So yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So that's my website of the day, and that's you guys saw it. It's
Hey, I got another one here. I don't know if this is any good or not, but it's called trackthetropics.com. I don't know if you heard of it or not.
No.
Trackthetropics.com. Pull it up, see if you can hear it, see it. Oh yeah.
Okay, I like so far. There's graphics.
Yes, they got graphics. This is kind of like the spaghetti models in a way. I don't know if it's got as much as that, but a few things to look at.
Yeah, that's not bad.
You might want to put that in your, and take a look down there in that one. It looks like they're going to have another area down in Western Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to that in a few minutes. And so we'll get to that when we get to that. So anyway, anything on this? It's iweathernet.com, iweathernet.com, and free service. Check it out. Contest this weekend. All Asian DX contest for those of you who are in Asia. No, actually, you can participate in this anywhere.
Do you have to speak Chinese?
Yeah, I
Bow
would,
things only.
yeah, I would. If you're using your bow thing, make sure it's on 5 watts. All right, so yeah, there's not a lot to this. This is there's the Asian contest this weekend. There's the Russian RTTY WW contest this weekend, which I guess is a worldwide contest. These are all ones that anybody can participate in, so you can check them out. Colorado QSO party is this weekend, and you check that. There's this has got a worldwide participation, but the focus is more closer to home on this one. And there's CW phone and digital. You notice something, John? I'm finding more and more of these contests are given 2 points for FT8 and 1 point for phone.
More of them, man. They haven't.
I
figured it
hate
out
that.
yet.
I hate that. I'm really having a hard time with that. I got to admit it to you guys. I'm having a hard time with that because
CW Digital QSO.
I'm having a hard time with it because there was hardly anybody on phone. There wasn't that much phone on summer field day. Winter field day, we had all kinds of phone. And I think the difference is the fact that winter field day doesn't let you use FT8.
Yeah.
Which I used to hate. Now I like. It's one of those weird things in life. You know, it's one of those weird things. It's like, you know, anyway. Let's see. The IARU Region 1 field day is this weekend as well. This has more of a European focus, but it's worldwide. So the moral of the story here is there's going to be a lot of folks on the radio this weekend. The RSGB SSB field day is this weekend, and that's mostly focused in Europe as well. And so there you go. So any questions on any of that kind of stuff? I know there's not too many contesters out there, so I just kind of fly through it. If you guys are more into contesting, sign up for the newsletter, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I do put the contesting stuff in the newsletter. Real quick, we're going to run through it, guys. Support ham radio. It's important that we get on the nets. I know some people out there are like, I don't like nets. I know, but you know, I do like nets. I actually do like nets. I'm kind of social, and I like to talk to the guys on the nets. And there's a lot of my friends on the nets. So, if you haven't done it in a while, give it a try. I know it's going to run through real quick. There's a Southwest Florida traffic net every morning at 10 a.m. on the 685, the Sunshine Net, which goes about 2 hours a morning, starting at 8:30 a.m. up in Charlotte. And you can get that on WinLink if you're too far away from their 2 simulcast repeaters there. And then, of course, there's the Pharmaceutical Net, which That net basically is just people bitching about people that haven't gotten their vaccination yet.
Oh.
Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. That's my bad.
I might have to crash that party.
And then we got the loggerhead net, and that's a great net. Alex is awesome out there at WA4WDV, and that's sponsored by the city of Sanibel, and also the FMARC helps keep that tower up out there. So that's a good deal going on. It's a great net. And you know what I find's good about this one? It's a challenge. If you're a newer ham and you're building antennas and stuff, not the easiest one to get to from up in here in the mainland where the poor folks live. And the windmill net on 10 meters, on bloody 10 meters. It's pretty cool. I do the 10 meter net when I can. I have a hard time tuning 10 meters, but with what I got going on. But that's Charles KI4GED is the net controller there. Those of you who go to the swap shop, you know Charles. He's the one that opens the gate out there and takes care of the swap shop.
He's a frequent net control on the 220 net.
Yep. And we also have Larry, who is net control over on the newbie net. Starts between 7:30 and 8. You just gotta listen for it. It's N1NQU, and that's over on the 820, which is the one down by the FGCU, or as my family calls it, fug you.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's the Lee County Alert Net, and I want you to notice, doesn't that logo look better without the ARRL on it? Anyway, just saying. Little quinky dink there. It fell off. I don't know what happened. So anyway, yeah, well, nobody's perfect. So anyway, the Lee County Aries net, strongly recommend that. I'm a member of Aries. I'm unit 18. I know there's some other guys in here that are on our team. Please feel free to join us on the Aries net. Even if you're not a member of our Aries team, you are welcome to check in at the end. No comments, but you are certainly welcome to check in. CC Flares information net, same thing. I check in on the Lee net, and then I check in on the Charlotte net. They're right after each other on Wednesday nights. And then the $1.25 net, that's the 220 net. And you can get on that net for under $30 at a Bofeng dealer near you.
Yes.
And let's see, there's the Yazoo net, the DMR net, and the D-Star net. Okay, if you're into digital voice in any of those modes, check out some of those. I will tell you guys right off the bat, the DMR is not up very high right now. And it's, if you're not very close to EOC, you might not be able to get the DMR without some kind of antenna hooked up to your portable. That's why it's only moved to one night a month. So that's why that's like that. So, and then you got, oh, and by the way, the Yazoo net is a fun net. I don't know if anybody's got Fusion out there. It's worth it.
Otherwise, it sounds like just so much digital noise.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but if you, what is the name of it? System Fusion, there's a name for it, whatever. If you got that, that's a great net. He does jokes on air. They do all kinds of neat stuff. It's a fun net. And there's another one, the Cape Coral Gabfex, which is one of our simplex nets, and that's a good net there. Where did John leave? John left.
Oh,
I even put him in here so it would be correct, because he's now taking the net 2 nights a week or 2 nights a month, so
No,
that
I'm
Charles
here.
can have. Oh, there you are.
oh, now his name's
I was gonna say, you
Bufang.
can't leave. I actually put your name on the screen, so. But
I didn't even
anyway,
notice. Thank you.
there you go. But Charles has been running a number, and John, if you want to speak to this, that's great. Charles has been running a lot of these nets. And so a couple of the guys have stepped up to give him a little bit of a break, couple nights a month, right, John?
Yeah, and I will speak to that. Charles has been a member of the FMARC for a long time, but he also does a lot of other behind the scenes stuff in ham radio. He runs the Windmill Net on Sunday nights on 10 meter, 28.475 upper side. And he runs the Cape Coral Gab Fest. That's an interesting net because, it's all simplex. And oftentimes we forget how well we can do with simplex.
It actually does really well a lot of times. We do good on there.
Right. And He also runs the $1.25 net. He has for years, even back when it was the no-name net. And then he runs a couple of HF nets. He helps out with a trader's net and the old gold's net and several things on HF other frequencies. So some of us decided we'd give him a little relief and let him enjoy being on the nets. And so I'm taking the GabFest a couple of nights a month. And Dave Shepard is taking the $1.25 net a couple of nights a month, and giving Charles some rest. And because Charles is a great guy. Charles has been a friend of mine for pretty much as long as I've been in Fort Myers. And he doesn't live very far from me, and we've been friends for a long time. I'm talking about Charles KI4GED, in case anybody is wondering. And anyway, enough about that. Back to you, Ian.
Yeah, you guys, those of you who are not sure who Charles is, you've met him at the swap shop or somewhere. He drives the gold Dodge pickup truck, and he's just a really nice guy. And he's done a lot for us over the years. So I'm glad that's working out. And he'll still be in on the nets, I'm sure, most of the time. And then there's also the digital practice net. That's a good one. Unfortunately, those two nets run concurrent, so you kind of got to play a little game there. I have 2 different nights been talking on the one net while I'm sending pictures on the other. It's a little bit of a, yeah.
Juggling game.
But I do stupid things like that. Anyway, so that's a fun net too. AC4ZM, that's ZM, not TM. And
Definitely not.
Nyat. And then of course you've got my favorite net, the Southwest Florida TechNet. Anyway, all right. Let's see what do we got next. Oh, Major Hurricane Ida. You know what, guys? I got to tell you something. We did really good. I put up our little thing. I told you guys I had some stats for you. Well, here they are. This is actually the stats for our viewers. I had one video that was 24 hours and 24 minutes long. And I didn't do that on purpose. It just happened that way. And but anyway, there was 479 unique viewers that watched for about 42 minutes per impression, and they speak, the peak concurrent viewers was 13. There was 100% likes, of course, 19. Returning viewers, 19. Subscribers from the video, 6. So we picked up 6 subscribers. Remember, I told you guys, it's important to get subscribers. If you guys haven't gone to our YouTube channel and click the subscribe and the bell and all that, like our videos and click the thumbs up and all that stupid crap counts, okay? It's all that new age crap. And if you don't click this and click that and click this and massage some algorithm, you're never going to be seen by anybody. But anyway, broadcast time was up for almost 25 hours. The sex of the viewers, that's not how often they get it. There was 82% male and 17% female. I thought that was a little interesting. I guess men like ham radio and hurricanes better than women do. But anyway,
no
United
surprise.
States viewers, about 62% of the viewers were from the United States, which, as you know, is only a small percentage of the global YouTube viewing population. And the newsletter signups from the video, we got 3. So it was not a failure, considering I didn't sit here and do anything other than just keep it updated. I never turned the mic on or spoke or anything. It just basically played, had the graphics up and a scroller that talked about this net and what we do and things like that. So anyway, I just thought it'd be cool to show you guys a little bit of why I do stupid things like that. What I sent out over the audio was the VoIP hurricane net in the left ear and the HF hurricane net in the right, hurricane watch net in the right ear. You guys know about Mike's weather page. That one's always my favorite website of the day.
Mike's weather page.
Yep, spaghettimodels.com. I'm telling you guys, the best when it comes to this kind of stuff. Watching the tropics. All right, well, you know, at least unlike the last couple of weeks when we go on the air, there's not some devastating thing about to happen. But let's go ahead and let's go to Mike's weather page. Oops. Let's go to Mike's weather page and see what's going on. Mike does daily videos up here, and they're pretty cool. And despite he's always called the drunk donkey, but despite things, he does have quite a bit of sobriety, mostly in the morning. But anyway, he's good. That was a joke. You guys don't laugh at my jokes. That's all right. That's fine. I don't care. All right. So anyway,
Even a drunk donkey could do this.
yeah, drunk donkey. He's a drunk donkey. That's the drunk donkey is kind of his logo. But anyway, here's what we got. We've got Larry, which is like, other than Bermuda, nobody's really caring much about Larry. Okay. Larry's what we call a fish storm.
Fish storm. Yeah. There you
Yeah.
go.
It's out
Even-
there and it ain't doing much. The rest of it, if you look back here, there's really no deep convection in the intertropical down here. It's pretty much just, we've got a good wave coming off here that we'd have to watch. That's going to be the next thing.
A lot of Saharan dust.
That's 15 days away. So, but that would be the next thing we need to watch there. This wave down here, not showing much, and it's going to pass off. I don't really see much. We'll run a few models and see what it looks like, because, you know, never take the government's word for it, not even the Weather Service. All right. This one's interesting. Luckily, I don't think it's going to have the time or the organization to amount to too much, but it is going to put it right in a bad spot, right in a tender spot.
Have you run the European and American models on that one? It's pretty interesting.
Well, you know, now that you mentioned it,
It's
let's run the models on this
the
one.
guy on WWL TV ran it. It's pretty interesting.
Okay, here's the models. This is the American model. There's that's the, yeah, that L, that's not for Larry, that's low pressure, but that's Larry out there. And here we go, 978, 980. You can see Larry going. Now what's going on over here? We're looking towards Central America. Notice a low pressure forms there south of the Yucatan, and not really showing much happening with it. And so basically what this means is we didn't see any storm genesis. There was no, but then we start there, look where it finally popped up. See it, Rick? It's up there by the Panhandle.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's where it pops out.
Look at that.
That's where it pops out. So there you go. But it's not getting any genesis until here.
Which is too late for it to do anything dangerous.
Yeah. So there's really nothing there. Let's see what the pissy reporting Euro is doing. Euro went from the best performing model to I'm ashamed it's called a model. Those Europeans, man, they eventually screw everything up. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's take a look at this. Here we go. This is the Euro. Now, remember, the Euro runs twice as fast because the Euro doesn't run as many times a day. So when I click it one time, it's going like 12 whole hours. So let's run it forward here a little bit. Do we see any genesis in the Gulf? There, right there off of Louisiana. We got a 1010 millibar. It's hard to see, but that's 1010 millibar.
Bermuda. I
10
think Bermuda's going to get whacked.
Yeah, I think, yeah. And we'll look at that too. But look at that mess again right there just south of the Panhandle.
Right
Two different, we actually have two different models putting it in right in the same spot, but putting it in is nothing though.
Yeah.
And yeah, as far as, let's look back over here towards Fred.
You mean Larry?
Larry.
Yeah.
You know, for a major hurricane, that's a pretty close pass. Can you guys see the little speck right there?
Yeah, that's Bermuda.
That's Bermuda right there. And we run this. That's going to be a pretty close pass. Let's run the third one and see what happens.
I'm kind of nervous.
Let's run the CMC. I find the CMC is actually a little better on Genesis than the other ones are. But it doesn't seem to have the long range as well. So let's check this one here and see what we got.
See what happens.
Let's run this one forward. Okay. No.
You see a low over Mexico.
Nothing.
Looks like
It doesn't form anything. And it's actually predicting a slightly further pass away from Bermuda.
Yeah.
That's slightly further away from Bermuda. So not too bad there. I want to look at this one again. This is the American model.
Like you said, that's been the most accurate one this year.
Yeah, and in other years it hasn't performed all that well. Now let's bring Larry in. Ooh, that's pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hurricane force winds on the island there, but they're not. It's not a direct hit. I've always, over the years, it's always shocked me how many close calls and direct hits Bermuda gets, considering it's this little speck in the middle of this huge ocean.
Yeah.
But they still seem to get it, don't they?
They seem to get whacked by them.
Yeah. So I like to take a peek here because when we're talking about Storm Genesis, we have to look at, oh, come on.
Fewer storms going into Saturday.
Yeah, I like to look at,
And,
that's, just so you guys know, that's going to be Larry.
Larry,
What's with these names? Larry, Fred, we got a Darren coming up. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
Well, these have already gone by.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it's a Stan or a Tom.
Stan was a bad storm. They retired that name.
Yeah. But anyway, they're showing it coming in, and the good news is it's looking like it might weaken as it comes in towards Bermuda. So, but what I wanted to look at is this one here. That's your energy, that's your fuel. Notice what happened up here.
Yep. Upwelling. I was going to say that.
There two things happened, guys. We had upwelling, which
Yeah.
means the storm stirred up the water and brought cool water up from underneath. Okay. And then the second thing that happened is we had 3, 4, 5 days of continuous rain and cloud cover.
Yeah.
Those two things together have created what is that 85 right there was what, 89 or 90?
90. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one was not, it was a 90 pin there. I was like, oh my God.
Near Houston were 90. Yeah, Beaumont, Houston, in that area were up there.
So a lot of that's probably why we're not seeing the genesis in these models, because these temperatures are added into that. And we've seen a significant drop in temperature in the northern and central Gulf.
Look down in the Caribbean too.
Yeah.
83.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a few degrees hotter. So it's not real bad right now, actually, consider all things considered, not
If
really
it
bad.
stayed down there, we wouldn't have to worry so much about October.
Yep.
Just once the Cape Verde season's over, the end of this month, then you got to deal with October storms. And there've been some pretty bad ones like Michael to come out of that. So we're not done with this yet.
Yep. There's your official for Larry, Bob, Larry, and Bill, Fred. There you go. All right, and yeah, it's going to be a major hurricane as it approaches Bermuda, so something definitely to watch. All right, anything else on hurricanes before we move on?
Hurricane.
Have you been watching the coverage out of New Orleans? That's something else.
Yeah, I got to tell you guys, it was a bad storm. Luckily, New Orleans proper was spared, but their power grid still went down. Their 911 system went down. They've had communications issues, so there was a lot of things. I mean, it did.
Grand Isle, my gosh.
Now, yeah, you go to the left 80 miles, and it's a whole different story. So,
Terrebonne,
I have not heard any amateur, huh?
Terrebonne and Lafourche Parish is down there below New Orleans. They really caught it.
Yep. And I haven't heard any stories out of there yet, but I'm sure in the coming days we'll be finding out what's been going on. They touted a huge success on the hurricane watch nets, although I have to admit, I didn't hear a whole lot of traffic on either one, and I streamed them both for 24 hours. So I was quite surprised. I was even using SDRs, web SDRs to stream the HF stuff so that I could get a nice clear signal. And still, it wasn't that busy. Wasn't as busy as I thought it would be. All right. If you guys have any old equipment that you're wanting to get rid of, give us a shout. We would love to repurpose that old equipment into projects that you and others can take part in. We're looking for some old radios, computers, old monitors, different things. So if you got any of that kind of stuff, get with us and I'll come pick it up. And once you donate to the club, you don't even have to be a member of the actual tech team. You can just be a friend of the team. If you donate as a friend of the team, I will give you access to everything we do like that. All the stuff that we give access to our members to, like our remote FT8 project that we got coming up and some other stuff that we're working on. So if you become an equipment contributor or a data contributor, I am going to treat you well. And I appreciate that. We're looking to do a lot of cool projects coming up. So we're looking for some older HF rigs, stuff that's in the 15, 20-year-old range, stuff that may not, the knob doesn't work right, but it still transmits and receives, that kind of stuff. So if you think you might have anything, get with me, because it's probably something we can use. Even older machines we can repurpose with Linux and things like that. So just get with us. I'm even cabling and things like that can be used. So let me know. All right, the TechNet newsletter. We did really good. We did really good during the storm. Like I said, we picked up a few more subscribers. I have over 40 subscribers to the newsletter now, and it's going well. I put out another one, a big one today that had a lot of stuff in it. I hope you guys are enjoying it. If you don't have the, if you're not signed up for it, there's nothing you have to do. Just send me an email that says newsletter, and I'll put you on a list. Or you can fill out that little thing. It's 2 lines right there on the top of the TechNet website where it says newsletter right there. Just fill out that with your call sign and your email address, and you'll start getting them. And then you send me another one that says unsubscribe, and I take you right off. But it's great. It's got all the same kind of news in traffic and weather and all that kind of stuff that you normally see on here. Join today. We're looking for members for the Southwest Florida Tech Team. We're just about to start our bylaw meetings and start our, actually get the group kicked off. We're looking for just a few more members. So if you'd like to join up out there and be a part of the founding of the newest amateur radio team here in town, feel free to do it. We'd love to have you as a member. And most of our members are members of other teams. It doesn't matter. You can be a member of as many teams as you want. And we're not looking for money right now. We're just looking for interested folks. Southwest Florida Tech Team Club Repeater. As always, we've been talking a lot on this one late, haven't we, guys? I talked to Rick on it this week. I talked to another guy on this a couple of days ago that I never even talked to before. He just happened to call out on it at 6 a.m. in the morning. And him and IQ for a while on there. So great repeater, and see. But if you're ever around, give us a call. Joseph monitors a lot more in the evenings. I monitor a lot more in the early mornings. But we're on there a lot. We both monitor as much as we can, and there's a lot of other people that monitor. So give us a shout on there. Spread the word about this tech team, please. The tech, not the team, but this net. We're having a real hard time getting more people involved. We seem to hit that brick wall of like 30, 35 participants. We peak out. And I know that if we can get the word out, more and more people would be interested in what we're doing here. So send our emails or our blasts or any of our announcements or anything, just send them out to your ham friends in other towns. And let's see if we can get it out there somewhere else. And of course, our website is a great resource. I don't need to tell you guys about that. I'm actually looking at a couple of new pages to add. That rainfall accumulation map, I'm working on integrating it right now. I'm going to get it on here too. But there's going to be I'm always trying to add stuff to this. All right. And guys, this is it. I need you guys. I need somebody to help me here besides Joseph. Joseph is here for me every week, and I really appreciate that, brother. But we need other people. The two of us, we need others. And I don't need you to be here every week. I just need you to take a week and do a topic. That's all we need. I'll do the slideshow. I'll make it easy. I'll facilitate. and I'll be here to do it with you all night, so there won't be any dead air or crickets. It'll be all good. And so if you want to do something, just let me know. The end.
The end. Yeah.
Look at
Come
that.
on, guys.
Look at it. 9:38
I
and
know-
we got to the end already.
I know
All
y'all
does
got ideas.
somebody's got something out there they want to bring up. Come on, your turn.
I got something I can bring up. I called the library today, and apparently it's actually really easy and it can be done all online. And I
Oh.
don't know. Stop me if you don't want me to do this, but what if we asked everybody here what day would be good for them if we were to have like a in-person tech day? We should try and figure out what day would be good for everybody and what time, and then figure out when we have
You're
time.
talking about a tech day or a meeting, like a tech day? Because the meetings are probably just better done on Zoom right now.
Yeah, the meeting's done on Zoom, but like a tech day where if you can
Yeah.
actually physically bring your hardware to a place and have everybody look at it.
What Joseph's been working on, guys, is the North Fort Myers Library is a beautiful new library that they built that 100% of us pay for and 8% of us use. And well, there's politics right there for you. Anyway, so what
8%?
basically, yeah, 8, maybe 10, maybe 12 if you count the voters, the people voting. But anyway, it's a beautiful facility, and it is a great facility, and I am glad we have it. And it's right there. For those of you who went to Field Day,
Yeah.
it's that nice new building right there where you turn to go back into Field Day. It's that right there. That's the North Fort Myers Library. And I think they will be glad to let us use a room in there if we want to do it in there. And then also, if we want to do it outdoors, the pavilions in the back would be available. We would just need to check it out with them. That's all. So
I put the link here in the chat where you can actually go and see all the rooms available. And you can actually choose. They have several different meeting rooms as well as a conference room. And
do they have one with a jacuzzi?
I wish. Electronics and water, salt water don't usually mix too well though.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I want to do this. I think it would be pretty cool. And I know some people here, we've got hardware issues that would be best solved in person. And if we had a day like this once a month or every other month, just to make it so that every time we go, we have something to do.
Now, I want to tell you guys, years ago, and I'm going to date myself here. I got a Commodore 64 when I was 15 years old. And I thought it was the coolest thing since peanut butter and sliced bread. And I wanted to hang out with other people that were computer geeks like me. Back then, there was not many of us. And we would meet at the F building at the Edison Community College. Why I remember the detail, I don't know. But we would actually meet at that building once a month, and we would have a Commodore 64 meeting. And it wasn't really a meeting. There was no group. There was no bylaws. It was literally just they would rent out 3 big rooms in the tech part of the college. And they would allow us to go in there, and we'd set the tables up around the outside of the room. People would set up their computers all around the outside of the room. And then people would come around and help people get their stuff going. And if you had something you built, you bring your computer set up and show us what you built. Now, back then, this was this big clunky keyboard thing connected to a 12-inch color television that was on channel 3. Yeah. So, but yeah, so you could imagine what it looked like in there. It looked like a TV repair shop in there, but we had all these computers set up, maybe 40 of them in a room. And that was the lab room, we called it. And it was just a place where people could go and help everybody with everything. It was anything. Joseph and I are talking about once a month doing the same thing, having a time where we can meet, and I'm going to bring my antenna tuner. He's going to bring his antenna tuner. I'm going to bring whatever project I'm working on. I'm going to bring my latest build, the antenna that I built. I'm going to bring the stuff that I built. I'm going to bring anything I'm having a problem with. If I got a laptop that I'm having a problem with Ubuntu on, I'm going to bring that because Joseph's going to be there. It would be a way for you to bring whatever you're working on, whether it be an antenna that you need to size, whether it be a computer that's not running right, whether it be a radio that's transmitting, but something's wrong with it. It would be a thing where you could come and work with other people directly on your problem and then go around and help everybody else on their problems. And that's pretty much what we're thinking.
Yeah, just like that. I really want to do it because I know that, not at the moment, but every now and then I have a problem where I could really use another set of eyes, and just to help me point out stuff I may have missed or something. And I know that when we're dealing with cat control on some of these computers and operating system stuff and some of the stuff we've been doing recently, being there in person would be great. And, you know, sometimes we get emails from people wanting to know, hey, can you help me set up Linux on my laptop or whatever? If we have a tech day, we could be like, sure, bring it down to the library and I'll do it right there. And that, I think that would be a lot of fun.
It's the old two heads are better than one scenario. You have somebody
Yep.
that looks at the problem for so long and they can't see what the real problem is. You bring somebody else in. Sometimes they instantly point to the solution.
Yeah, a second set of eyes always helps.
And we're talking things from bringing your portable rig and setting it up and showing us how it works, working on it there with us, bringing your HF rig in your computer and some small antenna, and let's get your FT8 going, you know, whatever it is. But we're going to have a lot of tables to set up there, and whether we're doing the weather will depend on inside or outside. And but I just think this is so cool. This would be the thing. This would be so neat. You know, what do you guys? I'm looking for input. What do you guys think about something like this?
This is almost like my North Georgia QRP group. They do a show and tell every month. They have no business meeting. They just
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, they don't have a business meeting. They don't have officers or anything. We get together on YouTube every month, and I still do it from down here. So they, you know, they'll do a show and tell. They'll talk about what they're doing, but there's no business.
Right.
This is one of the things I'd like to suggest some of these clubs around here, that they figure out a way to not have to do so much business, and do more programs and more training and that kind of thing. That people would be interested in.
I find that business and socials is mostly what these clubs do around here.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I know business has to be tended to, but if you find a way to get that done, and then you get a program in or get some fun stuff in, you'll get more meeting
Right.
attendance.
and yet the other thing is, people are always like, well, we need to have somebody come and talk or whatever. I don't do that. We do that here. If we want to have a class and somebody wants to teach something, they can come on here and we'll do it right here.
Yeah.
When we go to our field day, or what, I'm not going to call it a field day, that would be confusing. When we go to our tech day at the facility, wherever it is, that would be a time not for somebody to stand up and speak. That would be a time where everybody just shows up, sets up their stuff, and walks around and helps everybody.
Figure out what's going on. Yeah.
Yep. I don't care if you take a piece of paper and write, my computer's broke, help, and stick it on it. We'll come by and help you with it. I'm serious. I really believe that's where we need to be with this, because I have about 10 things here that I know, like WinLink. I've never been able to get WinLink to work. I know. I think W9GPI could probably strangle me, because I could do everything else with the team. I even got all my training all the way up done up to level 3, but I can't do WinLink. I can't get it to work. I've tried a million times.
It's probably like your cat problem. It's probably some simple thing that we got to figure out what it is, and then you get everything going. I mean, the dam will be broken up.
How did you know I have a cat problem? I have 11 of them now.
Well,
Calling you out.
Yes, the crazy cat, Ian.
Well, I had 12. I had to put one down 2 days ago, so
right.
it has been a sad week for me. But
There's nothing wrong with cats.
cats are the best. They're the best.
I got a cat that plays fetch like a dog.
There you go. There you go.
She's a Maine Coon.
Oh, I love Maine Coons. They're the smartest cats ever.
Yep.
Yeah, Maine Coons are beautiful cats. I'll tell you. Go ahead.
She plays fetch like a dog. You throw her toys, get it and bring it back to you. Make you throw it again.
I love cats. And so this cat was one of those ones. Have you ever seen the cats? They walk like they're drunk because they have a neurological problem. Well, he come wandering up. Somebody dumped him off here in front of my house. We were in a rural area. People dump their cats out here all the time. That's how I got so many of them. And they dumped this cat out here, and he's got this neurological problem. So we took him in. We took care of him for 2 years. He was our cat. We loved him to death. Some dog got him the other day, and some dog got out of somebody's yard, got a hold of him, and broke his back. So I had to take him, and I had to take him 2 days ago and put him down. And I don't even know if I've told you, Joseph, but this is why I got one cat that we're nursing back to health. I got another cat that's 15 that's wanting to check out soon, and I got another cat that I just had to put down because a dog got him. I literally called the vet at 8 o'clock in the morning and told them I'm going to be bringing this little cat in to put her down because she's just not eating. She's not doing nothing. I've been trying for weeks. And I called them back at 1 o'clock and said, cancel that. She's rallying. She's doing great. She's eating. She's walking all over the house. I think she's doing a lot better. I called him back an hour later. Another one of my cats just got attacked by a dog. I need to come in and have him put down. Bottom line, one way or the other, I was killing a cat that day. It sucks. I mean, it was almost like it was destined to be that I was going to the vet that day with a cat that I love and putting it down. So anyway, if you've never had a love for a dog or a cat, and you've never had to take that and hold it in your arms while they take the life from it at the end, man.
Yeah.
I think when Rick mentioned
you'll
cat
never know
control,
that
this
love.
wasn't what he was talking about.
Oh, is it not?
No, I was talking about the
I know that, Rick. I'm screwing with you.
computer aided, what is it, for the radios. But anyway, that's funny how I got diverted into something else.
It wasn't something else. You were talking about cats.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, yeah, cat
Why is
control.
we
We did
talking about cats?
we did get cat control working finally
Yeah.
after all those months, but I still haven't gotten WinLink working, either HF or FM. So I don't know what to do. If we had this day, I would bring my stuff and set it up, and I'd have some of you guys that do WinLink try to help me get my stuff going on WinLink. So this I'm looking forward to this because I have stuff I need it for, and I know you guys do too. And I'm like, there's a lot of things out there that I'm really good at. You know, FT8, Chirp. There's a lot of things out there that I've become really good at. And there's a lot of things out there I know absolutely nothing about. And I just really need you guys' help on it. So anyway. All right. So we're planning that. Other than that, it's open lines right now. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about? What projects are you working on?
What am I working on?
Basically, what I'm doing is reviving old radios instead of going out and buying new ones.
Ooh, tell us about that. I want to hear about that.
This rig here, this is a Lightcom Icw32A, which I bought back around, well, right around a little after 2000. I've had this thing a good while. Well,
That's back around the turn of the century.
Yeah, it's turn of the century, but it still works. I mean, the speaker's a little crappy on it, but I'm gonna probably just put a speaker mic on it, and I ordered a new battery for it today. But I can hear this thing listens to both the 2-meter and 440 band at the same time, which is something you don't see on a lot of these handhelds. And I sure as heck wouldn't want to drop this thing on my toe because I might be crippled after that. I mean, it's built like a tank. So I figured let's revive the thing. So it still works. All I got to do is get that battery in. This one here still works a little bit. So I've got to get it and figure out if I can work it with Chirp and get the Atlanta frequencies out and the Fort Myers frequencies in, and I've got a functioning handheld.
Well, there you go. The only thing I would suggest is, and if I don't say this, I know John probably will if he's still in here, because it's an ICOM and it's a good radio and it's an older radio, just please look it up before you connect it to Chirp and make sure that's the best way to program it. Because
I'll definitely do that.
I know there's some Yazoos that you try to program with Chirp and it messes them up. And I warn people, as much as I love Chirp, and I've had perfect luck with Chirp over the years,
You know, I don't wanna
I
can
don't
bring
want
it
anybody to
in.
use it on a Yazoo or an ICOM and screw their nice radio up.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't want to break the radio. So I will check that. I think I had another program that I used to program it with, and I don't remember what it is. So I'll have to look through my stuff and see if I still have that. And if I do, I may just use that. But it may not work under Windows 10. So who knows? We'll
There you
figure
go.
something out.
Well, yeah, and it'll work in that famous Windows compatibility mode that's not really compatible with anything I've ever run on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Well, if what you had was RT Systems software, they can look you up by your call to see if you had the software for that rig.
Yeah.
And when you bought that, that comes with lifetime upgrades. They'll
Oh,
there you
upgrade
go.
your software.
That may be what it is. I don't know. I've got a couple of little CDs in one of my bags. I've got to find that.
Well, that'd be
So
worth
that
checking.
may be what it is, but it uses the same cable as my IC 208, which is a help. So all I got to do is find software, and we'll be good.
Nice. I've decided, I said this a couple weeks ago too, but I've decided that when it comes to base and mobile rigs, I'm not buying new ones, and I'm not buying the Chinese ones anymore. Every portable radio I bought, from the Baofengs to the TYTs, this is amazing radios. I love these radios. The mobiles, you use them for 6 or 8 months and the magic smoke comes out. I don't know why they can't keep the smoke in better.
Yeah.
So I've decided that because I can't seem to get, I've bought four of these Chinese radios. I've sent 2 back because they blew up before the warranty was out. I've had a bunch of them. They work for 6 or 8 months, and then there's some issue inside, the magic smoke comes out.
Xi
I got
Jinping's revenge.
yeah, there you go. My last one is up here, and I'm now using it as a receiver because it's not transmit. There's no transmit power.
Yeah.
It says it's transmitting and it's putting out like a milliwatt or something.
Microwatts.
Yeah, so the finals are gone apparently, even though it's been hooked up to a perfect antenna the whole time. But it's good. It's a good receiver. I'm still using it for my receiver for when I do the broadcasting online on YouTube. And it actually up there, hooked up to my big antenna, picks up the WX4E and the big stick system perfectly. It's clear. So
Here's my other little goodie. This is a 220 rig. So
oh wow.
yeah,
That looks like a realistic scanner from '95.
No, it is an ICO3AT,
wow.
which is an ICOM 220 rig. I've had this for a long time too. So I ordered a couple of new batteries for it. It works. So I'll have a 220 rig too. It's a brick. The thing is built like a tank. Don't want to drop it on my toast. So anyway, but good radio. So we're going to be.
If it's worked for this long, it'll work forever.
That's right.
So I've decided I'm going to, I told Joseph this the other day, from now on, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put $100 in my pocket and go to a ham fest. And I'm going to wait till the last 25 minutes when everybody starts to pack up, and I'm going to walk around and buy every UHF, VHF radio I can find for under $40 and start fixing them up and just working on them. And I've kind of gotten a love for older radios now. I don't know. There was a time when all I wanted was these brand new Chinese ones because they were so cool, and they quad watch and dual this and quad that, and they make coffee and they do toast. But truthfully,
they don't work.
I know. And the truth is, they do all that right up till the magic smoke comes out. I would really prefer to have something that just does it for a long time. The ones I've bought that are old bricks that are 15, 17 years old, they're all still working. They're fine, perfect. Sit out in my hot car, doesn't matter. So yeah, so I've kind of decided that I'm going to be a 15 to 20-year-old FM guy. I want all my stuff to be seasoned a little bit.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Well,
The old
radios-
adage, you get what you pay for.
Yep.
Amateur radios kind of age like wine. They get better. And they get more desirable the older they get.
No,
I
these
think-
older
My opinion.
radios have stood the test of time, and they keep right on going, like Timex watches.
Yeah, I don't want to go back too far, but but I mean, sure, 20-year-old radio is still a perfectly good radio today. I mean, as far as I'm sorry, as far as VHF, UHF. I mean,
If
of course,
it's got a
even
tone encoder,
yeah, that's
you
it.
can
The
add a
tone
tone
encoder is your
encoder if
big
you need
thing.
to.
Yeah, both of these rigs have got the tone encoders in them, so I don't need to retrofit them or anything. Now I do have an IC3 AT, which I'll have to retrofit, but I've got the tone encoder here. So it's going to be a little surgery in order to put that in there. But I'm probably just going to use that to listen with anyway, because I've got the other rigs.
That's cool. And Joseph has a radio that did not have a tone board in it. And so what he did was he put
Not
a
this
jack
one.
in. Yeah, you got a mobile, don't you? Doesn't have a tone board
Yeah,
in
I've
it?
got the.
So he put a jack in the side of it. Tell him about that.
Okay, so I've got the it's a Kenwood 7400A. It was made in the 70s, as far as I can tell,
Let's
and
see.
I like this radio.
it's a really cool one. I really want to show it. I always have problems with my
Sorry, dude.
webcam.
I didn't mean. I know you're not prepared for this.
No, I'm fine. It's fine. I actually put a new S meter light in it that's blue.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, wow. That is neat.
That's pretty.
It's a really cool. I really like this always just sits here and monitors on the 685. Will it
Yeah,
auto?
I remember those.
If I cover the light, will it? That doesn't matter. Okay. So yeah, this is the radio here. And it doesn't have any tone function built in. It does have like the offset switch on it, and it does have yeah, it's got the offset, but it doesn't have any tone encoder. So what I did was I found the service manuals online, and I found the port where you're like the pin in the radio where you would connect a tone encoder, and I used an iPhone for a while. I used an old iPhone 6, and I just used the headphone jack on it, and I used a function generator app on the phone, and I just typed in 136.5 in the function generator app, and just played it through the iPhone into the radio, and I used it like that for a while. But yeah, it
That's
actually
crazy.
worked. It worked. It was amazing.
Type of rigging, but it works.
Yep, it was. That was one of my favorite things. And then recently, Gary, I have this call sign written down. I was on the Gabfest net with this radio because it was only doing simplex at the time because it didn't have a tone generator, and a guy named Gary, Whiskey 4 Sierra Foxtrot Sierra Carl. I keep saying Gary. His name was not Gary. It was Carl. This guy named Carl offers me this tone encoder.
Yeah.
And this thing is also from a similar era, so it goes
Oh,
along
that's
with
cool.
it nicely. And it's
Real good one.
it's got a little switch on it here. You can switch between, there's like the little knob here, can select on either side. There's like different banks of tones to use. And it wasn't working at first, so I had to open it up and actually turn the amplitude up, the little pot inside the board, to make it start working. But this has a little cable coming out the back where it gets 12 volts and the signal. And I just wired it up to the radio like it was before with the phone, just now with the little box. And now it works. I can keep any repeater I want. I can change the tone if I need to.
Cool.
And so now this old Kenwood
Is
works
it-
great. I've had Bob fix the finals in it. It blew. I think it was my fault. I blew the finals at some point in this thing. I guess I had a bad antenna, or they just went bad over time. But yeah, the finals blew in it. And
It is
Bob
good
fixed
to
them for
mention
me.
here that the older your radio is, the less protection it will have against bad antennas. Newer
that's true.
radios, like brand new radios, these newer ones, they will not allow themselves to get hurt. Even my ICOM, that's what, 10 years old
Unless
now.
it's a Chinese radio, and it'll have an excuse to blow up.
Right, exactly. Well, yeah, but like my ICOM 756, it will not put out wattage more than about 5 or 10 watts into an antenna that has a real bad SWR. If it's more than 3 to 1, it will not put that much power into it. And I went and read about it, and what it says is to protect your radio, if the resistance is so much or whatever, and it realizes that it's not a good SWR in the antenna, it will not dump the power off. On the older radios, they would dump the power off somehow. And I'm not familiar with how, but the power would be spelled off somehow. But in these new radios, it literally detects a bad SWR and just turns the transmitter power down automatically so that you can't destroy your finals. So that's not an excuse to not tune your antenna, but but it
Yeah.
is nice to know that the newer your radio, but it's also nice to mention here that if you buy a 25-year-old radio or a 20-year-old radio, be careful because it may not have any of those built-in protections that the newer ones have.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
be careful with those.
Yeah, the swap meet, that shed over there at the park. There's some equipment over there. I think there's a 2-meter rig in there, and there's a couple of what is it? Kenwood 2000s in there. One that was just brought
Yeah,
in.
there's 2 of them.
There's 2 of them in there.
Yeah.
Those are nice remote controllable radios.
Oh, remote controllable. Yeah, those would be cool, but they're pretty expensive, I think. They can do everything though. They're like a real shack in the box. Like they can go all the HF and VHF, UHF.
Yeah, there's 6 meters, 2 meters, and 440. I'm pretty sure that one did all that.
Yeah, they do
It's
everything.
remote controllable.
Do they do all the normal HF bands as well?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
TS2000 will do all the HF bands. I think it'll, including 160, I believe.
Wow. It's a good radio.
That's pretty much the
And there's
same as
a-
my FT100 then, because it goes 160 to 440 minus 220.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still sell it or not, but there used to be a 1.2 gigahertz mod or module that you could buy and put into a 2000.
1.2 gigahertz. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You might be able to find one on eBay. Who knows?
Good
What is
luck
that, like
using
an
that.
up converter type thing?
Yeah.
Wow. That'd be
Little
cool.
extra box you put in there and you got 1.2 gigahertz in addition to all the other bands. Yeah, that's nice.
Man, what would you use that band for though? Because their range is gonna be not great.
That's well, that band was around and almost not being used until D-Star hit the street. Then you know, the ID1 made use that, and a lot of folks got on that band. I know a guy in Texas that's got 2 or 3 2000s, and he's got that done to all 3 of them. 2 of them came from the factory that way, and the third one he had that module put in.
Hmm.
Wow. Yeah, digital modes, that makes sense. I've heard of people trying to set up or wanting to set up 1.2 gigahertz like repeaters for FM voice.
Yeah,
Well-
there's several of those here in Florida.
I see pictures of these guys up on summits setting up these like 3-foot wide dishes, and they're doing 1 gigahertz.
Yeah, sometimes they do 5 and 10
Jusos.
gigahertz too.
Yeah, so I don't know. It looked like interesting stuff, but I'm like, do you set something up with somebody on the other end? Because I mean, literally,
Yeah,
On
they-
Well,
CQ on
if
1.2
you're
gigs.
dishing, if you're talking to somebody dish to dish, that's not going to happen by accident. I mean, come on.
they're
dude.
probably coordinating on 2 meters, 6 meters, or something like that.
Right. That's what I figured because I mean, maybe they're establishing a connection, like you said. They're talking on other radios to get it dialed in and everything to see what kind of data rates they
Now,
can
if
get.
we
or
could just
whatever.
create some mountains down here, we could do that here too.
Yeah.
You can do it from tower to tower. You can link repeaters that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Link them on 2.4 or 5 gigahertz.
Yeah, you can do 5.8 gigahertz, I think is actually an amateur. It's an amateur frequency, I think.
Amateur allocation. That's also one of the Wi-Fi bands.
Yep.
Yep.
And those little hobby video transmitters that you can get for your drones, those are also usually on 5.8 gigs.
I
And
read
they
something
you're not supposed to use those without a ham license, but everybody does. The range is very limited though, so unless the FCC guy was like in your neighborhood with a thing pointed at your quadcopter, he wouldn't know.
That's something I'd like to try one of these days, just flying a drone.
You should, man. It's great. And if you have you can get these goggles. So you can get like box goggles, which is like a large thing that goes on your face and it's got a screen in there. Or you can get goggles with that actually have like lenses and two screens in them.
Kind of like virtual reality, huh?
Yeah, it's like virtual reality. And then you just have the live feed coming from the plane or the quadcopter, and it is a lot of fun. I do it with planes, drones, and I do it with the RC trucks as well. I set up the camera. I made like a little model cockpit in
Yeah.
there, so it's like a steering, like a servo controlled steering wheel and everything, and it's like you're driving a real truck, but it's a little model. And I actually did some. Normally these trucks use like high frequency, very low power for their radio control, and I had to go in there and actually put in some high power, low frequency radio equipment in the model truck to get it to go further.
Yeah.
That's
They've
one of the
been
things I
using
do.
drones out in Louisiana. I've been watching the TV coverage out there, through the internet. And they've actually used the drones to survey some of the damage from the hurricane. That's how they started. That's how they got some original pictures out of what is it? The island up there, Grand Isle.
I do, Jimmy.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
only
they all
area-
use drones. Well,
the
that's what they
only-
use now.
That's the only inhabited barrier island in Louisiana. So they have to, and of course it got cut off. So they just drew some drones out there and flew through and took a look at what it looked like. Like I said, 3 feet of mud and a lot of roofs blown off. Still some places standing, but some of them aren't.
Yeah. Yeah, drones are great for that. They use drones for everything now, especially disaster research and everything. Before they get the helicopter out, they don't just send the drone. But yeah, that's all very fun. If you're gonna get a drone, you could, I don't know. I can't really recommend a good beginner drone because you
Get it
either
cheap.
have to spend a ton of money.
Yeah, you don't want to spend a ton of money at first. Get a cheap one and start out with it. Do they require ground school for that now?
No.
Yeah, I didn't know if they did or not. I got a friend in Atlanta that's with the FAA, but I haven't talked to him in a while, so he could tell me all that.
I don't know. You better not talk to him. He might start telling you a bunch of restriction rules or something. You'd be better off not knowing.
Well, I think he flies drones. He's not that restricted, but he's serious about the regulations. But
Yeah, that's
know,
what I mean.
he's like I said, that's a big new problem for them.
The regulations.
No, the drones. I mean, there's some of these idiots will fly them out near airports and everything, and that's a big no-no. And you're not supposed to fly them over 400 feet.
Yeah, that's true. The issue is just that they're trying to shut down drones so bad, and it might stop here soon because of the reason why they were trying to shut them down kind of went away. But there was, just like with any politics, there's especially with these drones, there is so much fake news, poor reporting, using excuses to take away your rights. It's the same
Yep.
stuff with drones, and they're using these airport incidents, like the Gatwick airport incident. That was like a well-known thing. There was never any drone. They don't have any proof there was ever a drone, and they still went and arrested the only hobbyist in the city. They went and arrested this guy because apparently they found out he likes to fly RC helicopters. And they're like, oh, let's go arrest him, even though they don't have any proof that there was ever a drone in the first place.
No evidence at all. Our
It was-
government is so out of control.
That was a real, just a terrible thing that happened. But they use incidents like that, and they're like, oh, this is why we've got to do harsher rules.
Yeah. It's like they're looking for an excuse or a pretext.
Oh, they absolutely are. But that might start winding down a little bit now, because the main reason all that was happening was because Amazon and Google were trying to push the FAA to give them airspace for their delivery drones.
Yeah.
And that sort of hit a brick wall in the recent times. They've kind of figured out that it's not really viable at the moment with the technology and everything. So they may actually start winding down
I
their
wish Google and Amazon weren't in business. They've gotten too big for themselves,
Yeah, they have.
too arrogant.
Google was better when it was just a search engine. They think too much of themselves. They think they can own everybody. But hopefully they'll leave us alone with the drones more now, because they've kind of stopped their endeavors. So we'll see what happens. But
Maybe I ought to do a program on alternatives to Google and all this other stuff. There are some. So
I've thought of that. That's a good one to do. And we might do that. That's a decent one to do. It's just I've tried the other search engines and stuff, and they just never. I mean, Google has the advantage of being the biggest one. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
even though it's bad for a lot of reasons, it's also good because it's one of the most polished products. It has bad things about it, like it hides certain political things. And
Yeah.
I've tried the other search engines and they just never give me like it just feels like they're not working right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But that's a good idea. I'll think about that one.
Depends on what I'm looking for. You know, some things I won't look, if it's political, I won't look on Google. I'll look at others, but usually I'll use DuckDuckGo, but which claims to be private, but who knows? You don't really know for sure. Let's
No,
see
you
who's
don't.
flying aircraft tonight.
It's
Yeah, I was
working pretty
just-
good.
Yeah, I was going to show you guys. I found a way in this program. There's when you go in, there's actually another link for a mobile version of it. And when you pull it up in the
Really?
mobile version, it looks a little different and it actually works a little better and it doesn't have all the extra stuff. It's just the map, which I like. And let me show you what it does. If I click on a plane, this is what it looks like. It brings it up like this. And then if I double click on it, is it going to do it now? Oh, I got to click show detail. Look at this.
Oh, that's cool. It like follows it.
Yeah, that's neat. N77. That must be a Boeing 777. American
And
Airlines.
I
see,
also-
going
you
from
can-
Miami to LAX.
You can add up to 6 data lines per plane.
Yeah.
And it only gives you 3 by default, but I realized you can actually add up to 6. So what this tells me is this plane is flying at 31,000 feet. It's going 471 miles an hour. It's an AAL Airlines,
American
which is an
Airlines.
American Airlines. It's on a route from Miami to Los Angeles, LAX.
Yeah.
It is a 1999 manufactured aircraft and it's 21.38 miles from my shack.
Damn.
Wow. Yeah, this mobile version is the way to go right here.
I like it. And then see up here, you got map and you've got list. You can hit list. It will give you that list. It's pretty cool. And then you can go back to map. It seems to work a little quicker. It seems to work better. I like it.
You're running on what? Are you running on a mobile device or you running on your
Nope.
PC?
Nope, it's a Windows machine. It's an older but very good Windows 10 machine that is running this in basically just a browser window, but it's running like a mobile version within the browser window.
Oh, okay.
They made the UI a lot more mobile friendly, as you can tell, but it works great. This is the one I'm going to use from now on. If I'm setting one of these up, I'm going to use the mobile one. This is way better. I don't know why the icons weren't working before, but now you can see the airplane's icons are actually match the type of plane.
Yeah, they weren't working for me before, but they are now. So I messed with it and cycled it. This is the other screen. This is what the desktop version looks like.
No, look, the icons are working here now.
Yeah, I got them working on here. Like I said, I kept cycling it and I got them to work.
Huh.
But that's the desktop version. And you can see it just looks a little different. And you can decide how you want it to look. There's different layouts that you can have. Put this bar different places. Oh, there's some little plane out flying around. What's he doing? And see, if you do it on here, it doesn't really like.
The Beach Bonanza.
It just brings it up over here on the side.
N78D.
But if I'm here and I go here, now I'm back in the mobile version. If I'm in the mobile version, I click and now it brings up this and it brings up this. And I can actually zoom in on it and it will follow him around now. That's a Beach Bonanza C-35. He's flying at 925 feet.
Oh, what?
118 miles an hour with a 46-degree azimuth heading and a distance
cool.
of 8.93 miles from my shack. It even gives you a squawk frequency. He's on 1200 AM.
Well, looks like it's a private owner, not like a company or anything.
Yeah.
I know it's a private.
Cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a private plane.
Oh,
This guy does this all the time. I think he's a flight instructor. I think he's training guys how to fly these little planes. Because
Oh.
notice he's right next to Page Field and he's running parallel with the runway. I think what he's doing is they take off, they run around a few times, do a touch and go, and then they run around a few times, do a touch and go.
must be by the looks of the
Virtual radar map.
Isn't that cool though? I've had more fun with this. It's been a while.
I gotta get
I-
mine set up.
Well, I've got this. I'm leaving this up all the time now. This is becoming a screen in my shack. It's permanent. I can't help it. I gotta have it.
No, what I'm gonna do is put the dongle and everything on a pop, and then I can look at it anywhere in the house with any of the other machines. That would make more sense to me than to have to stay at one machine.
Yeah, we can
That's-
do it anyway with this setup.
Yeah, because I can dial into this machine from any of my other machines. As
Yeah,
a matter of fact, right now, you're actually watching. I'm dialed into this machine from this machine. So you're actually watching, a screen capture from another machine on this machine through TeamViewer.
yeah.
But we mean you can
Here,
connect
I can
to the
actually show
website.
you. This is the TeamViewer screen right here. See?
Yeah,
The website though, the actual thing, the IP address you type in, you can type that in. What you need to do is go into your connected devices on your router or do a network scan from your phone and find the IP address of the computer that it's hosted on. In fact, Virtual Radar Server will tell you. If you go to Virtual Radar Server and you choose the show network, I think it's like show network link. See, it says show local address right there in the middle above the blue link. Change that to, yeah, that. Click that show network address. Yeah, so if you type that in on your phone, then you can see it on your phone without having to remote into the computer.
yeah. Or you can set, if you're using the Raspberry Pi, you can set it to a static IP address. That's
Yeah.
what, yeah.
Yeah, it is really cool. I need to
Yeah,
set up another
he's
one
training.
at my place because the mosquito control helicopter comes out here every now and then, and they fly really, really low, and they fly like crazy people. So having the tracker up would be pretty cool. Ian's receiver can't get it because of how low they're flying. They're flying like 30 feet off the ground or something, or 40 feet off the ground.
You
They
gotta
go lower than the houses sometimes.
Yeah, even when he's over here, I pick him up and I lose him. I pick him up because he's going so low.
Yeah, that plane going to LAX is almost to Sarasota,
Yeah.
kicking ass.
Yep.
Miami to Denver. And you got something ENY. Okay, Orlando. Ord. What's ORD? I've forgotten. ATL to New Orleans.
Atlanta.
I don't know what that is, where he's going. ATL MSY. What he's doing down here?
Well, there's FLL. That's Fort Lauderdale to Denver. Orlando to Sarasota. That doesn't make any sense why he'd be there.
MCO is Orlando. MSY is New Orleans. I see one there. It says ATL MSY.
Atlanta.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, him.
What's
But what's he
MSY?
doing down here? He's kind of out of the way, isn't he?
Well, those flight plans may not be updated right.
Well, because he's had a stop in the middle. He's going from Hartsfield to Louis Armstrong in New Orleans to Hartsfield Jackson again.
Yeah.
And that is interesting that he would be flying down
Well,
here.
what's he doing down here? It's kind of out of the way, isn't it?
Yeah, he's flying by Inglewood right now.
And yeah, I hope he's not heading for Cuba. Has it been hijacked?
I think the route information must just be wrong.
That's what I'm thinking, because the odds of us actually catching a hijacking live are
Would be cool.
relatively impossible, considering there's hardly any hijackings anymore.
Yeah, I certainly don't want that. I don't want that starting up again.
Yeah, if you guys can see that blue line, that is 50 miles. The red's 100, 150, 200.
Yeah.
So, and then you can see the colors underneath there. Let me turn those up so you can see them a little more. It's right here. I'll bring that up so you can see it more. Watch this. That shows you how far my receiver has been able to receive them. The yellow is aircraft that are up to 10,000 feet. The green is 10,000 to 20. The blue is 20 to 30. And the red is 30 to 40. Here, I can even show you here. There's your ranges right there. And you can see you can turn off each one. It's pretty cool, isn't it? And and you can clear this whenever you want and start it over. But I can actually see, and I want to show you guys the really cool part here. I can actually see my propagation pattern. See this here? The reason this is so good right here is because of the lake. I think the lake has some help here because I'm getting a lot of range, but yet I'm getting it here too. So kind of interesting. See this notch right here? That's my power pole. That's literally the exact azimuth of my power pole from the receiving antenna. Notice also when I'm going south, I'm going over Fort Myers. Notice that? Look what it does. Look what it does to my propagation. It creates a wedge. Isn't that cool? You can actually see it.
If you got your antenna up about 1,000 feet.
Well, there you go. I'd probably see every plane in Florida.
Yeah.
But I just think it's cool. Put it up there with the 685.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They've already got a Pi up there on some of those repeaters for the All-Star. Just sneak our program onto the Pi, and they aren't looking.
Put your figure out how to cool a dongle, and you'd be good.
There you go.
Speaking of that, I
sounds so dirty.
Talk about that.
Okay.
Cool a dongle.
You've been talking about these hot dongles all this time.
Yeah. Well, it's cool your dongle. It's kind of like cool your tool, you know. All right. Cool your dongle over there.
Speaking of that, I want to talk about this a little bit. Last week, I think, hold on, if I can view the participants here. Who was it? I think it was Dallas told me about a Peltier device last week. I'm not sure if it was him or if it was someone else. I think it was him though. And last week he introduced me to a Peltier device, which I didn't know about before.
It was me. Yep.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I want to say thank you for telling me about that because I've actually formulated a plan now and I've ordered some stuff that's going to come tomorrow. And so what I've ordered is 2 of those devices that are the right size, and they draw about 12 volts at about 4 amps, I think, for a piece. And then I've got a little water pump back here, and I've got 2 of these aluminum blocks that I've ordered them. They're coming in the mail. 2 aluminum blocks that are made for like CPU cooling. And so what I'm going to do is actually make a little water cooling system inside this Pelican case. And I'm going to use a Dremel tool and cut a rectangle out in the lid. And I'm going to use this big heat sink I have. And I also ordered some thermal glue. And I'm actually going to make the heat sink be on the outside, and the thermal conductor is going to go through the lid. And on the underside, there's going to be a little in and out spot for water. And then I've ordered some tubing. And so I'm basically going to have the water go from the dongle, the hot water from the Peltier. The other side, the hot side of the Peltier is going to go into water. And that water is going to carry it over to probably another Peltier, which is the hot side of that is going to go into the heat sink that's outside, which will have fans on it. So it's going to be this kind of a little bit overkill, but I need this thing to last. And to do that, it needs to be inside a Pelican case. And that's like the only way to make it truly waterproof and like hurricane proof, to put it in a Pelican case. So it'll be a bit complicated, but I think it's going to work great. And it's going to be really cool because I'm going to cool that thing down to be frosty cold. And my signal strength will be really good because if you cool those dongles down, they receive better than when they're at room temperature. Like you can actually get better performance by cooling them past till they're properly cold. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, thank you for telling me about those devices. Those are super cool, and they're going to be really useful for my my applications.
Well, you might, instead of using water, you could go to the trouble of putting antifreeze.
Oh, like engine coolant in there?
Yeah.
I could do
Antifreeze.
that.
Antifreeze with 50-50 mix of antifreeze and water. It's odd. Antifreeze, you would think the stronger it was, the better it works, but no, 50-50 mix, no, it's about the best.
Yeah.
Is
But
that
you
not-
don't, you're far enough south, you most probably never have to worry about it freezing.
No, we don't have to worry about freezing.
Yeah. Where I'm up here in Georgia, we get snow. We freeze. We get down to the teens. So yeah.
Oh, I've
You
had
in the-
some
you
fun
in the mountains up
Atlanta
there?
Snowstorms.
No, I'm not in the mountains, but they're not that far away. It's pretty hilly.
Okay, I got a little cabin up in Blairsville.
Yeah, I used to live in Atlanta. I know about those snowstorms up there.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
I love Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia's my second state. I would live there if I couldn't live here. All right. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to bring up?
Let's see. I guess that plane is
Oh, I'm
gone.
sorry. Were you watching that?
Ah, that's okay. The plane I was looking at was gone anyway. It's already flown out of range.
So I guess I got questions about your bylaws committee. You piqued my interest. I've helped many a club get started.
Oh,
Well, that's cool. Yeah. What? And I'll be straight up. We're not doing anything extravagant. Oh, I just realized I must have hit a button because my camera's not even on. We're not doing anything extravagant. In fact, we want to keep it absolutely as simple as possible. I ran the Bayshore Volunteer Firemen's Fund for years. I've run a bunch of 501c3s and successfully done things like that too. And the one thing I really want to avoid with this is complication.
yeah.
I feel like that, amongst other things, one of the biggest problems these local clubs have is they're all just so bogged down in the day-to-day operations of the club. And there's a social today, there's a club meeting tomorrow, there's a social the next day, there's a get-together the next day, there's a social the next day, there's a meeting the next day. And by the time you get all done with it, I'm like, did you guys ever talk on the radios at all during last week? Maybe anything?
No.
Did you talk on the way to the lunch thing? And what you find out is that a lot, like 80% of what these clubs do doesn't ever involve using talking, tuning radios.
Yeah.
And so I'm wanting to just simply, our club's going to do nothing but that. We're not having lunch this and dinner that and awards banquet this. And I don't want I really literally want a club where I don't even want president, vice president, secretary. There has to be those three positions in order to keep it legal. But the truth is, I don't want all that. What I want is, okay, we'll have one person run the meeting. It could be a different person every week for I care. We run the meeting, we vote on things, vote counts. It's that simple. I don't want it to be hard because we're not going to be making a bunch of decisions. We're not going to have thousands of dollars in the bank that we're trying to manage. You know, some of these clubs have tens of thousands of dollars just sitting in banks.
So the club here has almost $40,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which club is that?
Let's use it for the hobby.
Right. Well, we are, but we ran out of with COVID. we
Yeah,
can't
I
do
know.
that.
That's a good caveat there. But
But
yes.
Which club are you in, Dallas?
the Gwinnett Amateur Radio Society.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I was in North Fulton. That's why I was in an Atlanta club too. I'm still a member of North Georgia QRP group up there too.
And,
Life's too short for QRP. Oh.
Yeah. And Dallas, truthfully, the club down here, the other club I'm a member of down here has not quite that, but nearly those reserves as well. And so the truth is, I don't know. it's like the club's like, look, you know, we're going to do something. Let's try to find somebody to donate the money. It's like, no, let's spend the money. It's in the bank. You know, I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not looking to gather money. I'm not looking at paying for things. I'm not looking at buying insurance. I'm not looking to do any of that. All I want to do is have our once a month, we get together at a place and we work on our radios together. We set up, do some events, maybe some field day stuff. We have our tech nets on Friday nights here, and I want to do a radio net once a week, which we're going to talk about coming up. One night a week when no one else is doing one, I want to do a radio net on our 440 repeater. And we're looking at some ideas for that radio net. We don't have it quite worked out yet.
Well, see that in clubs that I've helped, there's one of them in Milam County, Georgia. You know, they started out, they just wanted to have a small club. They didn't even want to have a repeater.
Yes,
Last I looked, they got 5 repeaters. 3 are on the air. 2 of them are up for sale.
Mm.
They thought that Bridgecom made really nice equipment. They've had one of them go toes up, and they sent it back and got it repaired. Then the other one went toes up, and they found out. Luckily, that one was still under warranty. They got it repaired. But while they were waiting for it, they bought another Yaesu one. So they got 3 of the Yaesu ones that they bought that they're straight from Yaesu, but they were secondhand. They were selling some of those things for $500, and they love them. So they have one of them that's on the Fusion all the time, and the other 2 are set up to be FM only, but they like them.
Yeah.
And it's a small group of about 20 folks, but they don't do enough, at least in my opinion, of outreach for new hams. And
Well,
that's to me is the number one thing. It's you always need to be trying to find another way to get a new ham. And I don't care if that new ham is 90 or 9. A new ham is a new ham.
Right.
I agree. Well, one of my biggest complaints with the local clubs is that there's not really much outreach. I mean, I got my new license and no one ever stepped out or reached out to me or offered to help me or anything. I got my license. I walked out of the room that day and I had to figure it all out for myself. And I want to change that. I want to get it to where, you know, people can get into the hobby, but even more than that, these clubs they're using the ARRL 1978 recruiting handbook still.
Yeah.
And we need to change the way we're recruiting people into this, because it's what we're doing right now is not working. Okay. Because we're not recruiting them using the right things. We need to recruit them using the things that people are interested in now. Things that connect to the internet, things that are visual, things that are digital, things that do really cool things. These are all things that are really important to people nowadays, to the kids nowadays. And I think that's, Joseph and I have been talking about this a lot. It's his generation we need to get.
Yeah.
And so we're really into that. One of the few things we want to do outside of just working on our radios and doing tech nets is some kind of either high school or college outreach to the younger folks, because the clubs really aren't. They're just really not.
Yeah.
I beat my head against the wall for a year trying to get our club to call the media for just one event, and they never did. So I think they did finally contact some media for summer field day, but
Well, that's only because you get 100 points.
Yeah.
that's true. They got points for that. That's the only
Yeah.
reason why they did
Yes,
it.
a lot of folks do that because they do 100 points, and they take that crappily written media blurb thing that somebody at the ARRL wrote back in 1942, and you know, it's like, come on, folks, update that thing.
Join us for this year's
explain
ARRL Winter Field Day, or Summer Field Day. I know it is. It's the same thing that they've been using for 20 years.
Yes,
You
and it needs to, you know, explain, you know, what it is we're trying to do with getting folks on the air, and it falls short.
It does.
You know, and I'm always the guy on the get on the air station. And when I did my first field day, the owner of the radio sat behind the radio, and I don't know how he did it, but he could tell me which way to turn the knob to tune in that station. I've listened to sideband for 40 something years now, and I don't know which way to turn the knob until it gets clear, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, I go back and forth till I
Back
figure
and
it
forth,
out.
and it's gonna say, turn it to the right, turn it to the right, turn it to the other right.
Yeah, yeah.
you
There's
turn-
three sides.
And it's like, well, wait a minute, how can you tell from the back of the radio that I'm tuning the wrong direction? And then he can remember, like, you know, we were doing this from the hangar bay of the Yorktown aircraft carrier in Charleston's Harbor. I don't know if you've ever been to Charleston, South Carolina, or ever been on an aircraft carrier, but it's a museum. And this guy could remember like 4 or 5 call signs in his head of who was trying to reach us. And they'd tell us which station to go to next, which one after that, which one after that. And no, I have to write them down. I can't, someone gives me a call sign. If I'm not writing it down as they're giving it to me, I can't repeat it.
Yeah, I'm no good at that. I have to use contesting software so that I'm literally typing it in as I'm hearing it and verifying right then that it's a good call sign, verifying right then that it's one I need, because I can't. I love people that work a contest for 2 days and they remember their own dupes.
Yes.
How can you remember that you worked that guy yesterday at 9 a.m. in the morning? I mean,
It's some of that you learn that. I've been doing this almost 30 years, but I only do field day, and just recently started doing winter field day in the Georgia QSO party. But there are some calls that you'll remember, and
Yeah.
is what's really fun is some of the hams that I've known in Texas. I'll be working field day, and then bingo, I know that guy.
yeah.
And I,
Yeah.
and I call him by name, and he's like, I haven't given my name. How do you know who I am? And I said, this is so and so and so and so. You know, I saw you at the meeting last year.
Yeah.
It's like,
I want to show you guys something. Joseph got a battery backup for the shack here. And I hooked it all up here. He was able to get this for us. This was great. I had no battery backup for my computers here, and we have 7 computers here that are running 24/7. And so I hooked this up, and I'm using 450 something watts of power to run all these
God.
computers. This is no monitors. It's no speakers, none of that kind, no peripherals, other than I have one USB hub strip that I have to have plugged into it, and I have the router plugged into it. Other than that, it's just one laptop and 5 desktop computers is what you see there running. And that gives me about 5 minutes of power, and that's all I need, because 98% of our power outages last for like 1 second.
They're blips. That's why I call it Florida
Exactly.
power and glitch.
I call it Florida flicker and flash, but it's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Same idea. These ones.
You got Georgia flicker and flash up there?
yes,
Wow.
yes. And my UPS is right down here, and I'm about ready to, and I've already got the hole in the wall to run wires. I'm going to run wires from here upstairs, so that I can not only power this, but power my my box or my Ethernet. It's when it flickers, it just takes that way too long. It feels like it's 10 minutes for the internet to come back.
Get everything back up. Yeah, I've got all my internet stuff here on a UPS because we get so many.
Well, I don't want to buy a second UPS just for that, so I'm just going to
Yeah.
run cable. And while I'm running that power cable up there, I will run me a Cat 5 cable down here so I can, I don't have to use these stupid Wi-Fi dongles.
Yeah.
I
don't use a
did
lot
you
of
see what I
Wi-Fi.
did there?
Nice.
I reset the CO2 emission so that what it tells it is that every time there's so many kilowatts hours, it actually is using like a million. It's producing 1 million kilograms of CO2. So now when you go over here, my computers are creating like 102 million kilograms of CO2 a day. I mean, they're really working their ass off over here.
You go get the EnviroKooks all upset.
Yeah, I set that so they can come get me. Anyway, I just wanted you guys to see that. That's I don't know. I really appreciate that. This is a really
So
cool
how
thing.
old are the batteries in there that it says you got 100% of the capacity? I guess it's just a small UPS.
No, it's not. It's not a small UPS. It's just I have 6 fully functioning computer systems running on it right now. See, normally a person would connect 1 or 2 computers to one of these, maybe a monitor.
You got 6 of them.
I have 6 computers hooked up to this. One of them's a laptop, 5 desktops, and then, like I said, a router and a couple things. But so that's why if this was hooked up to one computer, it'd last for 35 minutes. It's a nice big battery backup.
My system here I've got a lot of high power hardware in it, but it runs for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I have the same exact UPS as his.
Yeah. So it's just because of how many systems I have plugged into it. I actually rerouted all the power in the shack last weekend, and I ran a power strip down each side that is off of the UPS, and then on the other side of the UPS, they give you like some plugs that are like surge protected.
Yeah.
And all I hooked up to those was my 2 power supplies for my rigs. That's all I really care. I mean, those are like the big thing there. Just keep those
You
safe.
want your computers to be protected by the UPS so they don't.
Right.
Glitch.
Well, yeah, the computers are all on the UPS. The radios are just on the protected but not UPS
Not
side.
UPS, yeah.
Right. Because they don't need to be on the battery. They just need to be
Exactly.
protected. Right.
Which UPS is that, by the way?
If you give me 1 second, I can actually get you the model number of it.
There
It's a Cyber Power brand.
Yeah,
Um,
I got one of those in the other room.
It's a really good UPS. It's got lots of it's got a high capacity, and like he said, it's got all those features for it. It's a 1350 VA. I'm not sure what that VA means.
I don't either. I've
Um,
got a 1200 in the other room on that, which I use for my work stuff. So that's been good.
Well,
I've
this
had it
is
for
what
3
this.
years.
I don't know if that's the same, but that's what this one's saying.
Yeah, 1350. Okay, that's the next step up.
well, the actual model is a CST 135 XLU.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get them at Costco if you're a member there. You have to be a member to go to Costco, but they have them for $99 at Costco, which is really good. If you try and buy the same one like from Amazon or something, it's about $180.
Wow.
But
You
it's
just-
$99 at Costco. That's where I got them.
Hmm.
And yeah, they're really great. I got mine here. I got the display on all the time. I can see how many watts I'm pulling. I'm pulling fluctuating between, I'm pulling about 150 watts right now with my current setup. So as soon as it comes on, I can see my remaining time, the battery capacity and everything. It's a pretty nice little setup. And if you're running Linux, I've said this before, but this UPS, if you plug it in with USB cord, if you're running Linux, you don't even need the CyberPower software. It just shows up as a battery in the operating system, and it gives you notifications. It says like now running on battery backup and stuff. It's seamlessly integrates, as they would say.
Now, I haven't used it yet, but this thing also, I mean, I've set it up, but nothing's come through yet, but it actually has notifications. And you can set it to where every time the power does whatever, it'll send you a notification and let you know that the power went out and how long it was out. And it gives you quite a bit of information. You want to hear the funny part? I plugged this in a week ago. The power hasn't been out since I plugged it in.
Don't worry, it'll glitch out sooner or
Well,
later.
the week before I got it, it looked like a disco in here, blinking on and off. So it's just so typical the way it works around here. You know, I finally get this battery backup, and then now the power's been steady.
I
as
guess
rain.
I'd have put the fear of God in them or something. I don't know.
Yeah. We've had a few doozies too,
Yeah.
storms, but according to this, I haven't had any power interruptions, so I don't know.
Well, the best way to watch for power interruptions is get a LED clock and make sure it's not on the UPS. It
It'll
does not
flash
have
at
a
you.
9-volt battery backup. You know,
Yeah.
that way, as soon as the lights blink, it flashes at you. And if you know, you come in there and it's saying, you know, now I have some that just flash. I have others that flash, and it tells you how long the power basically has been out.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that, knowing how long ago the power outage was.
Well, and that's what's nice about this is not only does it tell me, it send me an email when the power goes out, but it sends me statistics, how long it was out. Was it a brownout? Was it a blackout? How long it lasted? What the undervolt was? If it was a brownout, it tells you a lot of information. I thought that was pretty cool.
You could set it up to send it to your phone too if you want to.
Yeah, I've got it sending it to an email that then alerts my phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can set it up all different ways, and it's funny because now that's going to send me an alert when the power goes out. But I also have 3 Broadcastify streams going out on 2 different computers. If they go out, they'll alert me too. So like before I got the UPS, when the power would go out, I would get 3 emails all at once, and I would know if it goes bling bling bling, I would know that my power went out at home because all 3 of my Broadcastify feeds all failed at the same time.
Yeah.
And I need to dial in and get them going again. Luckily now with the UPS, as long as it's not more than a 5-minute outage, as soon as my router inside the house, the actual Comcast router, as soon as it comes back online, everything should connect back up without any human intervention. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, see, that's basically what I'm talking about with mine. I'm going to run power from my UPS to the Comcast router, so
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't want the internet router. No,
Right.
so
Truth
it-
is, if you have a large power outage, you're going to lose your cable internet anyway, because it's going to
That's-
knock out the amplifiers and then maybe even your fiber hub, wherever it's going to get into fiber.
But
Here, when we lose power here, even if I have that on battery, it's still, we don't have internet because it's 4 or 5 amplifiers between me and the fiber hub. So unfortunately, I lose it anyway because I'm at the end of a run.
Well, see, the amplifiers, they well, it depends on what else is with that amplifier. But if it's just an amplifier, as soon as it gets power, it's back up and running.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't have to boot up. It's just on.
But
Right.
but the Wi-Fi box I've got, it doesn't even have a place to put a battery in it.
Right.
And the predecessor one, it had a battery in it, and some of the ones that I had that were Time Warner, they all ran off 12 volts. And Belkin makes these little battery boxes that you put a battery in it, and it becomes like a UPS. It would supply 12 volts for a long time. But unfortunately, this new box that Xfinity's gotten me, it's like it runs off like 19 volts. You know, something that I can't easily
Some oddball
reproduce with
power.
batteries. You know,
Yep.
so it's like that's useless to me. It also pisses me off that it's only got 2 Ethernet ports. One of them goes to my security camera system, and then the other one I have it going over to one of the televisions. So it's doesn't have to send that through Wi-Fi. But you know, once I
Well,
run, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I have a router in my house that's Comcast, which is our cable, and then I come out of that on a network cable out to the shack under the ground. I buried it underground. It comes out here to the shack, and then I go into a router, and I've got a bunch of stuff, both wireless and wire, in that router. And then now I got a cable run over to this side, and I got another router over here, but I don't have it working yet. Once I get that router working through that router and that router, I'll have it to where all 7 computers can be online at one time. So anyway, but the goal is that each system in here is going to be doing different things, and people can dial in and do different experiments and dial in and practice with things and play with things. It's going to be really cool. Anyway, does anybody have anything else?
Just anything?
Well, anything, because I got to be honest with you. I'm going to be going soon. I'll leave this on if you guys want to stay in here. I don't care, but I'm done.
Well,
So
I
I'm gonna go ahead and end the YouTube now. If nobody has anything else before we end the YouTube.
That's fine. You can end it. I have one more show and tell thing I want to show.
Well, you want to do that before we end the YouTube? Go ahead.
No, you can end the YouTube. It's not really, or it doesn't matter. I can show it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have this. Let's see if I can pick this giant thing up here.
Oh yeah.
This is a shortwave receiver made in 1974.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a realistic DX150B.
Yep.
And this is one of the coolest things I've gotten recently.
Is that, was that over there at the Swap Fest the other day? Is that where you
Yep.
got? Yeah. I
Yep.
saw
This thing is so cool. It's got all the physical knobs on here. It's got the physical band selectors. It's
That's-
got
that. Shade.
it does AM and single sideband, and you can actually change the side that the sideband is on by adjusting this little BFO pitch knob.
Yeah.
It'll actually go from left to right, which is really cool. But this thing is so cool. If you look at the inside, I have the cover off right now. It's got the pulleys in there. So when you turn the tuning knob, you kind of see them turning the little pulleys in there. It's really cool. I mean, I've loved old hardware, but this is one of the oldest things I've got, and it's so cool. It seems really sensitive. Like it receives great. I was able to pick up FT8 with it the other night, and it seems to receive great. One of the bands, the little band selector knob is having a bit of trouble. I cleaned it as best I could with contact cleaner, but it hasn't really improved all that much. One of the bands seems to be not all the way dead, but just really hard to make it work. So I'm gonna try and figure out what's up with that. But my plan is to run just a random wire out the window and down the swing set. It should be about 40 foot worth of wire, about 10 feet off the ground, and I'm gonna wire that into this. I'm gonna have the audio come out and do some stuff, and then I'm gonna have this little thing here sitting under my monitor, and I'll be able to do shortwave stuff. I really like the old analog hardware. I mean, SDRs are cool because you have a waterfall, but there's just something about mechanical tuning and analog stuff that I just love. So this was a really cool find.
You
And,
can always feed that audio out of that thing into a computer, and you still get your waterfall.
technically,
Well,
yeah, kind
I
of.
mean,
for
I
FT8.
know it's not as comprehensive as what you would get on a radio, but still.
You have
it's-
to come out the IF on it. You
I'm trying to find the IF out on this thing if it has one, and then I can hook up an SDR to that and just see a waterfall that way.
that'd be cool.
Not that I need the waterfall, but that would be a cool thing to try. But yeah, it's really cool. So you can put the little tuner on a certain spot. Each band has a little marker on it for the amateur radio section. And then you have this little secondary knob that you turn. It's called the band spread knob. And it's like fine tuning, but it's for the amateur band. So you park it on this little mark on the indicators, and then you can actually fine tune. And it's really cool. It's like you got two tuner knobs on here. So that's what I've been working on this past week, and I just think it's just so cool. So originally when it was made, this would be like a really expensive set, I think. And
what those cost.
I'm not sure. I think they were
Yeah.
over $200.
$200, I believe.
Yeah.
Which in those days is a significant amount of money because that was out in the late 60s and early 70s. That's a DX150. I think that was when those came out.
Yeah, 1974 is what Universal Radio says. I'm not sure if that's the
Okay.
final
that-
date.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
and
that was in the days of me being into CB radio, and I kind of looked at getting one of those, but I was too busy buying every CB radio I could find.
you know, in adjusted dollars, that's probably a $600 or $800 rig. I mean, it's maybe more. I don't know.
Probably, yeah. This will pick up CB too. It's got a little marker on there for it.
Yep.
So yeah, this is super cool. I can't wait to set this up into like a permanent sort of thing. And I kind of like this analog stuff too, because like it's less susceptible to damage. I mean, if there was like a solar flare or something like a CME, sensitive electronics, you know, like our software defined radios and stuff, they've got the little chips in there, like those can get zapped by the stuff. This seems like it'd be a lot more resilient to EMPs or weird stuff like that. And so this is one of the cool things. I'm like, if there was a solar flare, you could probably use this when the other stuff would be
I
too
still
dangerous to use.
disconnect the antenna when you're away from the house though, because of the thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it did.
that's one thing I did. I had this connected to the attic HF antenna while there was a lightning storm out, and just listened to the crackles for a while, because that was cool. I like listening to the lightning crackles. I don't know. I don't think it's damaging the radio, right? If it's just like a attic antenna,
Yeah,
it should be
Well,
okay.
unless you get a real nearby strike.
Yeah, if it's close enough, that impulse could still wipe out the front end.
Yeah, there was a lot of lightning the other night. I don't know. It was like, I think it was like Monday or Tuesday. It was just an insane amount of lightning. I mean, every now and then we get one of them lightning storms, and I'm like, ooh, man. And it was at night too, so you could see all of it, but nothing too close to the house. Not while the radio was connected, at least. But yeah, so this thing is just super cool. I'm glad we found this. Wish there was more stuff like that in the swap shop. There is some similar stuff, but this was a cool find.
Oh, there'll be more. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we gotta wait for some more consignments to come in. That's when all the good stuff comes in. So yeah, that's my little show and tell for this evening.
Right.
Besides,
Well, we're
the
gonna
radio.
go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and end the YouTube. We're gonna call it a night on there. So for those of you who are over on YouTube watching us, thank you for watching tonight. We'll be back next week. This has been our 3-hour telecast here, and I hope you enjoyed it. This is the Southwest Florida TechNet. Please send me an email if you have a topic or you'd like to work with us on a project or something. Other than that, everyone have a great night out there. This is Ian, KO4EFS, with my co-host Joseph, KM4OVZ. Everyone have a good night.